Has it started up?
Yeah, just coming on now. That's it. Bingo.
Welcome to the Out There channel, live stream 340, I think it is. There's been a bit of rush this morning. Everybody was talking, and we'll see you after the intro. Looks like the music's a wee bit slow behind. CPU holding at 98%, so we actually got a couple extra percent of CPU at the moment.
Looks like it's about 5 seconds behind.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think the new minicam update may have fixed a few problems with the latest Windows update, so we'll see how it goes. Oh, CPU mixed out then. So I've approved the donation system and the messages on the screen. It should be a lot better now. And when people want to donate with the tips system that we've got set up, your message will appear on the screen that you send with the donation. It may not show up in this chat, but it will show up on the screen anyway.
Area 51's here.
Hey, Area 51, how's it going?
So we've got 5.
Yeah, we'll be with you in a minute. We're probably half an hour late. Well, maybe not that bad. Hello. Hello. Good to be back again. And you know the rules on the side by now, these guys, and all the regulars are joining. So yeah, should be dropping back to the desktop now. I'll just minimize that, pause that. It's not that far behind, a few seconds I think, on Twitch. It's certainly a lot better than YouTube ever was. Fonts is too small here. I forgot to reset it back to normal size. There we go, I can read the screen now. Okay. So, who we got with us? Area 51, is it? No. Yeah, so it's good to have you here, Area 51. I know you do a decent job there in America. Americans should be thanking you for the service and skills that you have there to keep the sick to the hospital.
Yeah.
And all those military men out there that are trying to keep the world free with us, but I think it's got trying times ahead after the elections. Okay, so I'll just type in the welcome message. Crazy times ahead still, I think, in the world.
Yeah.
So nobody presses the damn button, that's all.
Yeah, well,
it's quite easy to do, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't think Biden knows what button
Yeah, that's
to the
why.
next button, to be honest. There, so yeah, well, here we go. Enough of politics, I guess.
Sunday, UFO cases with Robert. I think you got some news as well, haven't you? And UFO news and topics. How's that going? There we go. What's weird? All these are the same colour. Yesterday it was all green. So something weird's going on there. All these should be different colours. So there's some bug going on, I think. Let me just close that and restart that.
Susan's here.
I'm pretty sure when I first tested it, there were different colours.
Hello, Susan.
I'll just, a shame it doesn't bring up the old messages. Hi. We're both white now, are we? Can some type of message on the site? I'm going to have to look into that, because it's meant to be different colours.
Yeah, I'm seeing it in different colours, Paul.
Red?
Yeah, but yeah, this is OBS chat. It should be shown in the same colours. So that's weird. It's whatever colour starts up on the screen first, by the looks of it. That's so weird. Makes no sense. Something else to look at. I got an error message on the screen. Error with the video. Is it streaming okay? It must be.
It was a bit pixelated just.
Yeah, I'm not
better.
too sure what's going on with that window there.
Still a little bit pixelated.
Let me just reload that again.
Looks okay on Twitch.
Yeah, it looks good on Twitch, but it should be the same on the side thing. Because when I look at the sample that they have, see, I come out with a different colour this time. Okay, can you say hi?
Hi.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to test all this. You see, whatever the first colour is. Kind of weird. So
do the colours actually matter?
Not really.
Yeah, it's just
what are we doing then?
Yeah, but it's not what the sample screen is when they say it should be. That's kind of weird. It might be just a typo in the code. Yeah, so I'm probably going to have to test it out somehow with Charles in the future. But anyway, suppose we need to post some links. So what are we covering today, Robert?
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, following our conversation a couple of weeks ago, I decided to look at some water-related cases, and I picked a bunch of them, and they're quite good actually. Some of them are very convincing, and they get better as they go along. But before that, we've got a little bit of news. Let's have a look at this Wilson leak thing first.
Haven't we covered that already?
Yeah, but this is interesting. Okay. Now, don't for 1 second say that I believe that is a genuine document, but this is an interesting take on it. And because what follows on then, this Eric Davies business, I don't know. Did you catch up with John Greenwald's show? I think it was Friday night. Did you not watch it? Paul, you're mumbling. Did you watch it, yes or no?
No, I haven't watched anything.
There you go. Thank you. That's all I wanted.
He doesn't have time when he's on the computer all the while.
No, I know.
Unless I've got to fix some more stuff after the show. But anyway, the water UFOs, we covered lots of those already from Australia.
We haven't covered these cases, Paul.
And Canada, and what's the other one? The Great Lakes and all those ones. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well, are you sure you found more USOs? Of course I have. Okay, so what do we got here? First link.
A link.
Let's see if I can copy the sucker. How's the CPU holding up? 95% already? No, surely not. I'll just have to check that.
This sounds like Star Trek.
Is the sound shit, is it? So let me just reset.
No, I said Star Trek, not sound shit.
Let me just... Are we sounding alright on the side chat? Okay, so what is that, a video?
Yeah.
Is it safe? It's
I hope so.
redacted. Yeah, okay. There's something I feel like I've forgotten. Anyway, see if it plays.
Dr. Perry looked over the document, and he does not recall any such meeting as is described.
Is that loud enough?
Memory of a person by that name, referring to Vice Admiral
Bit
Thomas
higher.
Wilson. Although he does admit that it had been many years since, and therefore difficult to say whether he would remember if such a meeting had occurred.
If we up the volume with the add-on, it will use more CPU. Just hang on, just reset that. Sometimes it takes a wee while for it to settle down, doesn't it? CPU. Why is that not working? Everything should be better. Alright, let's amp it up a wee bit then. Okay, we haven't tested out this since for 3 weeks now, haven't we? So we might see some problems, so let's have a look.
That was a comment made to us by the non-profit operated by former Secretary of Defense
Yeah, no, CPU's
Perry about
CPU's crazy.
The infamous Wilson leak, notes that appeared online in 2019, claiming to track a 2000.
I thought this might be a problem. Google changed the HDMI player, and it seems a lot slower lately. Remember?
2002 conversation between Thomas Wilson, a then recently retired director of the Defense Intelligence.
Why is the CPU so bad? Let me just minimize that. That is terrible. The CPU's not settled down. Let me just see if it settles down. We always get this where we get sabotaged, right?
Right at the start.
And then the CPU will just release, and then it'll be fine. It's almost like Windows is doing something that shouldn't be doing something here. Let me just check. It'll sort itself out, and then it'll be fine. Okay. Because it's not doing updates. Okay, let's see if it works now.
Intelligence Agency and physicist Eric Davies. And not just any meeting, but one whose notes allege the existence of a, quote, absurdly closely held black
I can't
budget
do anything
program
about that, guys.
to reverse
CPU's
engineer
out.
a craft not of this earth, not made by
Anyway,
human hands.
we'll put up with it. Let it run.
In the notes, Wilson is supposedly telling Davis about his hunt for these secrets 5 years earlier. Ran into Bill Perry in May '97, talked about this quietly, the document reads. Perry led the Department of Defense between '94 and '97, while Wilson was Deputy DIA Director. It continues, told me of a special projects record group not belonging to usual special access programs, a special subset of the unacknowledged carve-outs waived programs, not belonging to the usual SAP divisions as organized in '94 by Perry himself, set apart from the rest, but buried/covered by conventional SAPs. The notes claim Wilson only found the reverse engineering program after the tip from Perry. So, what can we make of Perry's new comments to us? That he doesn't recall meeting Wilson in '97, or even knew him. We cover strange documents. Subscribe to join us.
Set up. Hang on. Well, the crackle does help stop it getting detected. Yes, something crazy going on still here.
Here is an org chart of the Pentagon. The Secretary of Defense oversees his office, Secretaries of the Army, Navy, and Air Force, and the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Beneath the chiefs are joint staff, J2, for example, leads intelligence for the chiefs and often leads the DIA. Why does this matter? Because when Perry was secretary, Wilson was the J2's top assistant, but no documentation suggests he dealt with Perry directly. He's off the org chart. And think about this for a second. Given the secretary's range of responsibilities at the DoD, the largest employer in the world, not to mention reporting to the president, it's reasonable Perry doesn't remember him. In fact, it was a full year after Perry retired in 1998 when Wilson got the promotion to J2 and was made DIA director in 1999. So, what do we make of the alleged notes that claim when Wilson was hunting for UFO black budget programs, he, quote, ran into Perry in May 1997? Talked about this quietly, special subset of the unacknowledged carve-outs? Does Perry's new comment suggest this is entirely fiction? Let's look at the terminology ran into. By May 1997, Perry had been retired from the DoD for 4 months. This New York Times article shows Perry had already returned to San Francisco for work opportunities that March. Exactly what location could Wilson have ran into him at? We must also mention the man himself, Vice Admiral Wilson, told journalist Billy Cox this summer the notes are, quote, all fiction. Those notes are really detailed. It's like somebody wrote a fiction piece, Wilson added. But it never happened, trust me. There are so many things in those notes that are demonstrably inaccurate. One of those inaccuracies? Wilson had already retired by the alleged meeting. But the notes claim on October 16, 2002, he arrived with 2 Navy officers in uniform, Wilson to Cox. You may also see in those notes where I came with 2 other naval officers. I was not even in the Navy then, and the Navy was certainly not ferrying me around in a car at that point. So, we now have Defense Secretary Perry himself stating on the record that he doesn't recall what the notes alleged happened 4 months after he retired, and the man on the other end, Wilson, also calling it fiction. Cox also interviewed Oki Shannon, a scientist mentioned in the notes as having connected Wilson and Davis. He told Cox, I don't know the provenance of that purported document. I don't know whether it's real or not real. Let's just leave it at the fact that I do know both of these gentlemen. Tom Wilson is an honorable man, and if this has embarrassed Tom Wilson, I am really sorry. And Paul Kaminsky, former Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition, Technology, and Logistics, where the notes claim the program information came from, he told Cox, I don't think I knew Admiral Wilson. I don't recall meeting him. It's possible I did. But I left the Pentagon in March or April of 1997. So this was probably after that. Like his alleged run-in with Perry, the notes claim Wilson called Kaminsky about the mysterious contractor running the UFO reverse engineering program after Kaminsky had already retired. As journalists, we have to take it seriously that now with Perry, several major players listed in the document that worked at the Pentagon at the time of Wilson's alleged search for the UFO program have poured cold water on this. But what do we make of the caveats in their statements? At this point, there are probably 2 camps. Camp A believes the notes are fake because several major players have gone on the record pouring cold water on them. Camp B believes the notes are real because most except Wilson have left a small opening in their statements. And if Wilson is embarrassed, maybe the last thing he wants is to spearhead a topic as controversial as UFO disclosure. If he came out and backed the notes, it probably would force a public outcry and possible disclosure. We think it's important to emphasize, though, that from a journalist's point of view, the documents have many, many hurdles to overcome before they could ever be deemed real. There's something else, too. The Wilson notes being fake certainly doesn't disprove the idea that there may really be a highly classified program out there somewhere with UFO hardware. But trying to view that through the lens of these alleged notes may be a mistake, distracting, and a waste of time. We can go even deeper, though. Chris Mellon. Mellon is on the advisory board of To the Stars Academy and was Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence from 1999 to 2001. The J2.
Yeah, I'm just doing some monitoring the tick in the background. Yep. What do you want to say?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sure. There's something badly wrong with these notes, you know, and it's getting quite disturbing now because Eric Davies again. Now, you know, he was mentioned in the New York Times that he was briefing members of the Senate on UFO material. Well, that's what Davis claimed, and that's what was put out in the New York Times, especially over these metamaterials, crash retrieval business. Well, it turns out now that Eric Davies had nothing to do with those Senate briefings whatsoever. That's been established 100%. The briefings did exist. There's no doubt about that, but it was the Navy.
Right.
So somebody's telling lies.
Office of Naval Research, yeah. Geez. So this leaves you with, you know, a couple of conclusions. One, Davis is kind of delusional. Or two, he's disinformation. Now, if it turns out to be the latter, that's more troubling than anything else, because you look at Davis, he's related to Bigelow, he's related to Ned, he's related to TTSA, and this casts doubt on the whole bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Davis's name keeps popping up everywhere, doesn't it? Now, this also reflects badly on the New York Times if this is the case, because it's irresponsible journalism. It's journalism that hasn't been researched properly. They've got no evidence to back up those claims. You know, remember the crash retrieval one, especially, where Davis's name came up, where he said he'd briefed the Senate on off-world materials, which sounded a little bit fantastic to me. Well, there's absolutely no evidence for that whatsoever. So this is not good, and it's not good for TTSA either. But anyway, that was just about to come on to the Chris Mellon's side of this. So let's have a listen to, you know, where it goes from here. Just rewind it about 10
director
seconds.
Is subordinate to this position. Journalist Tim McMillan asked Mellon about the Wilson notes. Quote, "He told me he wasn't familiar with Wilson's supposed search in 1997, and after looking himself, he failed to find any program such as the one claimed in the Wilson memo. How could an assistant and undersecretary of defense with inherent cognizant authority be not only unaware of the supposed program, but also Wilson's appeal?" Where did this come from? It's established to a point. We've spoken with a researcher who obtained them from a source close to late astronaut Edgar Mitchell. How the notes, real or fake, ended up with him, though, remains an open question. Mitchell was on the board of the National Institute for Discovery Science, while Eric Davies was on staff. NIDS was a privately funded anomalous research group operated by Robert Bigelow from 1995 to 2004. This may mean something, or it may mean nothing, but it's a curious point nonetheless. What about Davis's no comment given to several people? After all, the notes allege he was sitting on the other side of Wilson as he divulged UFO secrets. In June, he gave more context to researcher Joe Murgia about why he declined to comment. "I consulted my supervisor and a federal law enforcement national security professional on the perils of publicly commenting on documents allegedly containing classified info, while one has active clearances." Now, consider the statement from Dr. Hal Puthoff of TTSA, given to researcher Richard Dolan. "With regard to authenticity, we have no comment on the documents recently being circulated. As some of us still retain USG security clearances and remain bound by the secrecy oaths we have taken, we believe it is in the best interests of the USG and ourselves not to comment on any documents that
Yeah, see, there's Hal Puthoff there. Now, Hal Puthoff was Davis's boss for years and years and years and years.
I don't like him.
And Hal Puthoff is a member of TTSA. He's still a current member of TTSA. Davis is doing his own contract now, I'm not sure if it's Boeing, but it's one of those big, military industrial complex jobbies. I'm not sure if it's Boeing or Skunk Works or whatever, but he's been told to shut his mouth now about UFOs. I mean, you go back to that 2013 interview that he did on Open Minds, and the guy was singing like a canary about these secret access projects. What he was saying, he should have ended up in jail, and it just doesn't make sense.
Giving away secrets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Geez, he wasn't hiding at all. So I don't think Davis has got any credibility whatsoever. And the point I'm trying to make is, if he's got no credibility, they need to disown him completely. I mean, as in TTSA, if they want to have any credibility. But nobody shed any light on this. TTSA been saying they've just been really quiet over this Wilson leak, haven't they? They haven't committed either way. They need to do something about this, because it's disturbing. It really is.
Getting out of hand.
Yeah, it's smoke and mirrors everywhere. No one knows what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that Rojas now has even said, I think he was quite a fan of him for a while. Has said that Davis is not a good source of information, but he's failing to elaborate on, and I don't know what's going on, and I think that's the whole idea. Yeah, Davis and Putoff. They carry on, Paul, please.
Yeah, I still think it's a movie plot, the leaks and all that. But anyway,
agreed.
But these guys said it's not true, but no one believes them.
Report to describe classified USG programs or information.
I'm gonna have to.
We'll ask the question.
Yeah, I just want to try something here. Haven't tried
Perhaps I
turning
don't mind them muddying up the water. Anyway.
Let's see if we can turn on acceleration, see if that fixes it or makes it worse.
Yeah, there's no more YouTube stuff after this, Paul, so it should pick up,
Yeah, I just can't understand why that plugin uses so much extra stuff. Where's acceleration on this? Here we go. It may be fixed now, so let's see if it works. What else do we need to turn on? Microsoft Edge is closed. What does it mean by background apps, though? Maybe best to turn that on. And let me just close it and reopen it. Hasn't done anything weird at the moment. Let's see if it works. Might be using more of the GPU, and then we won't have so much CPU usage. Okay. Still loading. Doesn't seem any faster. Might be worse. Let's see. Carry on. There's only a couple of minutes left, I thought. What's this? Skip ads. Shouldn't be any ads on it.
Dr. Perry looked over the document.
Hey, that's
does
better.
not recall any such meeting as is described.
No crackle.
Nor does he have any memory of a person by that name, referring to Vice Admiral Thomas Wilson.
Hey, maybe fixed.
Although he does admit that
so where did we get to?
From Dr. Hal Puthoff of TTSA.
There you go.
Given
That's
to researcher
perfect.
Richard Dolan. With regard to authenticity, we have no comment on the documents recently being circulated. As some of us still retain USG security clearances and remain bound by the secrecy oaths we have taken, we believe it is in the best interest of the USG and ourselves not to comment on any documents that purport to describe classified USG programs or information. We'll ask the question. Could security oaths be preventing Davis and Puthoff from commenting even if the documents aren't accurate? In other words, would they need to call upon classified knowledge to criticize or debunk the notes? Or is this more simple? that they can't confirm the authenticity of the documents, because to do so would expose information that may still be tied to ongoing special access programs. Ultimately, how you view their no comment shapes if you think the notes are real or fake. Let us know your opinion in the comments. And if they're fake, is it still possible there is a highly classified reverse engineering program, or not? We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you want to support our weekly series, consider joining us on Patreon. Special thanks to Paul Aldred-Ban for recently becoming a patron, and thanks to all of you.
Hey.
Okay, Paul, that's done. Pause it. Now,
Yeah.
the interesting part about this, yeah,
Mm.
is what's underneath.
You mean scroll down?
Yeah, the comments, yeah. Don't go too quick, Paul. I can't see when you're doing that.
The font's
You'll
a wee
see
bit
the-
small.
Yeah, you'll see the Grant Camden and Nicole Sakic have left comments here.
What's his nickname?
No, it. Keep going.
That name seems to ring a bell.
Yeah, there's Grant Camden there. There we go.
You want me to read it out?
Well, no, I'll do it. It's okay. No, don't do that.
I could use the reader.
Yeah, this is Grant Camden. No, it's okay. Dolan was shown 2 pages of the Wilson documents years ago and talked publicly about this in December 2018 on Jimmy Church. When they were 6 months from being discovered, do you think he asked the person who showed him about what he was shown years back? Do you think it might have been the first thing he did? What do you need? I need to read more a bit, Paul, so I can
Yeah, read more, it says.
What do you think the reply was? How could good research overlook this very obvious and important part of the story? Now, Camden has backed this stupid leak from the outset, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
You need to open up those replies there. And you can actually kind of get to the meat of where this is going. And now that's from the channel itself, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want
Now,
us to
do
read
you know
it?
what I think this yeah, no, okay, there's a totally, no, Paul, I can do that. So his reply, totally fair point, I missed that. There's a lot here I'm trying to make it accessible for people who don't want to listen to a 5-hour breakdown. I'll include that in future for you, for sure. Okay, I think this whole thing is disinformation. It's a big distraction. And it's worked. Because there's stupid people in the UFO community that can't see through this whatsoever. And it keeps dragging on and dragging on when it should be put to bed. There's absolutely no evidence that this document is real. Most of the people involved have denied that they were involved in it. What more do you want? So until someone can come out with something conclusive and say, look, this is real, this happened, this meeting took place, and those secret access programs were a reality, then this whole thing should be just left on the sideline, because on the way, because it doesn't belong anywhere else. It's taking up too much of people's, and Dolan reckons he knows it's real, but he can't reveal the sources. Well, that's no good, is it? How many times have we heard this? It's honest to God, it's like the needle stuck.
They've muddied the water up too much, haven't they?
Yeah. Well,
who do you think his sources might be, though? What's your guess on the sources, though?
Oh, I think it's Puthoff and Davis.
You reckon?
Yeah. Yep.
I think they've muddied it so nobody will believe anything. That's what I think.
Yeah, they said 10 years ago when the documents were leaked, Paul was it Paul Deans? Paul Deans told
Yeah.
a few people that these documents would be worthless because there's no way we can verify any of it in there, and
Exactly.
there's no freedom of FOIAs that can actually back it up. You know, even a mold mention like a meeting or whatever, you know, in a FOIA request. Or contractors, mentioned about contractors, Eric Davies, anywhere in FOIA requests.
Yeah. This is an interesting little comment here. I found it myself. Now, don't worry about you finding it because you're going to break up all these. So Nicole Sakach, now she works for Grant Camden. She does research for him. And she's also...
Hey, thanks.
She's also...
Area
she's
51
also,
ambulance donated $3. Brain slug.
Hey, what's that?
Okay.
$3 from Area 51.
You know, the comment underneath it says "be alien" or something, is it? That's what it tried to say. Yeah, it'll read out now when it pops up. Yep, carry on.
Yes, sure. Okay. So Nicole Sakach is saying, no mention of Grant Camden's part in this. I'm stunned. So the channel responded, no, he didn't. Camden got these from James Rigney, who got these from anonymous persons close to the Mitchell archive. That's beyond the scope of this video, but please get the facts right. Now, Nicole Sakach is a big friend of the Dream Team and Goofon. Though they're all big mates, I can tell you, so you need to know who she is. Okay? And these guys are just pumping out effing nonsense, to be honest. And it's not doing the field any good at all.
Yep.
And they should know better. They really should.
Yeah, so nobody believes anything that's being said then, do they?
Grant Camden's a total kook. Good God, man.
Nobody's going to believe anything anybody says.
Some of the crap he's pumped out down the years is unbelievable.
Yeah, like jump gates to
Mars and all the. Oh God, yeah, tell me about it.
Jump gates and underground pyramids, same as Linda Moulton Howe. I think she's part of the problem too, but him and her are almost like in the same.
Yeah. Well, it's like almost like a triangle, isn't it? Like a pyramid, if you like. You've got Dolan, you've got Cameron, and you've got Linda Moulton Howe, and they're all spewing out the same nonsense. And it's a shame because I mean Dolan in particular is definitely he's an intelligent guy. He's a damn good historian. He knows his stuff inside out. But why go for this sensationalist stuff? We can't prove any of it. I'm absolutely convinced this leak was a total distraction, and it's worked. And people are arguing the hell over it. You know, until someone can prove it's reality or non-reality, then it's. I've heard more than enough to say this document.
For the people that don't know the Wilson document out there, perhaps you can just do a quick summary what the Wilson document was about.
Well, yeah, it's been around for years, but like Grant Camden had seen it, several researchers had seen it, Dolan had seen I think 2 pages of it, not the full document. And then of course originally it's supposedly, and we don't know this 100%, it came from Edgar Mitchell's archive. After he passed away, people going through his stuff, and it originally leaked, and of all places, Reddit. Yeah, I think that's where it leaked. But then Dolan got a hold of it and he ran with it. And this was in 2019, wasn't it? So the origins of the document, basically, they've been around since around about 2007, 2009.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I tend to presume that most people keep up with things and they don't. You know, so yeah. Should always explain the basics of these things.
There's a lot of information out there, though, isn't it? Trying to keep up with it all.
Yeah.
Trying to remember all the names, because it's just thrown at me left, right, and centre, and I can't remember half the names. There's so many names.
Yeah, that's why I don't get involved with some of the stuff that Paul does, because my brain only has the capacity for what I do. Like I can't keep up with all the drama, and
well, I'm trying.
Yeah, but I can't keep up with all that, and still produce stuff for the show. It's it just gets a head wreck in the end.
You do what you do best. That's all to do.
Yeah. But It's Redacted is generally a good channel. It's quite factual, but I was surprised to see some of the backlash going on here. So many people still defending this leak. I'm just scrolling down these comments again, see if there's anything else interesting. No, I don't think so. I think we can move on to some of the cases now, Paul.
Yeah. I'm just posting the donation link because some people can't find it still.
Okay.
Yeah. Namely Susan.
So I'll just put just bookmark it on your system and then see how you go. And of course we got Subscribe Star now. We've got a couple of people on it now. Area 51, I think, and Charles, I think it was. Seems to be working all right there, but I need to get 5 members on that because it won't auto bill each month for some reason. They said because of fraud or something. So yeah, I just posted those there. So these are the topics we got today at the bottom here: NSA denial, Eric Davies, Wilson leak, and UFO and water cases. Okay, so that's all I got from you there. I think it's all working all right now at the moment. I've got Discord shut down just in case that's causing a problem.
Yeah, the screen looks better now. It's clearer.
Right.
I'll leave a link and I'm just going to grab another beer. I won't be 2 seconds.
Okay.
You want to get a tube, Robert?
Yeah.
From the barrel.
Yeah, Charles is I'm pointing out Susan. Susan, the problem user. She's laughing her head off that you had to point her out. Everyone's all right. Just Susan having trouble.
Okay, no problem.
She'll go off and onto the other channel and say they're abusing me. I just want to. Speaking of this, we've had to ban Shelly from our Discord group because she was being disruptive and calling people names and breaking all the rules. She hasn't been blocked off YouTube. She still can come on the side chat and talk as long as she behaves. So the moderators there will be in control of that. But yeah, she keeps saying she's getting hacked and all that, so she wanted to be moderator. I don't allow anyone to be moderator that's got unsafe computers anyway, and they have to have some technical skills, and Shelly just doesn't have it, unfortunately. So yeah, I've had to block her meantime because I was getting complaints about my moderators on Discord, but they had my full blessing to deal with problem comments on there, and if you break the rules, you break the rules, and it's up to them how they handle it. So I'm distancing myself from all the moderation. I got enough on my plate as it is. So if you get banned, don't come crying to me. Okay, and yeah, we're being called all sorts of names starting with N and ending in C, NC. So I can't say that word because we'll probably get flagged by Google when we upload it there. But yeah, thanks for your donation there, area, and it's testing out the system is good, because we're still changing with the times here. I'm not sure if the credit card side of things work though. I think everybody's using PayPal, which is fine by me. When you donate now on PayPal, it goes straight to my PayPal accounts, and I only get hit with the fees with PayPal, which are quite high, as you know, as it is. So, because I've got a business PayPal account because I used to sell stuff on a website. So as soon as you go from personal to a business account, they add on all these extra fees. You can't change it back to a personal account to avoid the fees. I don't know. It's Elon Musk's system after all, and they keep changing the terms and agreements every month almost, and you just don't know if you're going to break a rule or not because you ain't got time to read 20 pages of terms and agreements and end up in prison because you've done something that you shouldn't have done. So yeah. I was just telling people about Shelly and some sort of problems that we've been having, that she got banned off Discord, and she's not being added back on. This was her last chance. She was warned, but she can't go around calling people N-words, and it's just not acceptable. And I've got enough on my plate anyway, technical problems and trying to keep the shows going. And also do the research for the material. As you know, I'm way behind in watching other people's podcasts, what's going on out there, so I can actually make shows on stuff. It's bad enough just keeping up with Third Phase of the Moon, eh, Charles? I know. All the nonsense that's coming out. Yeah. But we got to keep going for the truth, guys, and be civil to each other, even if you don't have the same politics. So we can't let politics and craziness that's out there at the moment affect what we're doing on the UFO side of things. So we got to keep the information flowing, and the real stuff anyway, and try and get away from the drama. But if I get attacked, I may do a reaction video to that attack, obviously, to say it's lies or whatever, and bring up some screen snapshots of things. I think you said there was some drama happening already about me, Charles, this morning, and that they're calling us a pedo network.
No, calling you. We're calling you.
Yeah, DB Cooper, I think his name was. You probably heard of him. They seem to think if I associate with MUFON that I'm part of a pedo network now. It's just appalling, and those people should be banned off YouTube, as far as I'm concerned.
You said Paul troll channels.
I troll channels, which is bull crap.
Yeah. And ask Paul why he hangs around with pedophiles. That's what he says.
Well, is he referring to you?
That's kind of an attack on us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's face it.
Can you post a link to that, Charles, so everybody can report that comment? Have you got the link handy?
Well, I can see it on here. It's on UFO'S.
You want to screen capture stuff like that,
That's what I told Charles to do, because he'll see it and I'll be in bed and I won't get to see that message because Google will take it off or whatever. And we need to document stuff like this because we've got hypocrites. We've got hypocrites in the UFO field defending Goofon when he's attacked with the pedo tag, and when they start using it back on us, they're just double standards and hypocrites, right?
I'll be quite honest with you now. I couldn't believe that Dave Scott came out with that nonsense, and I've not been back to that channel since. I don't think I ever will be either, to be honest, because how can you defend someone who's calling people these random names?
It's just disgusting.
Oh yeah, you can always but
it's not so much it's not so much a name calling though thing. I think when you call someone a pedo, that's like a level beyond. You call someone a moron. that's your opinion. But if you call someone a pedo network, that's allegation and career destroying and character destroying. And once you get those tags, people, people can read that online and get your address if they make your address known and come and burn your house down and that sort of stuff. So we can't accept that. That's got to be reported. So just can you post a link to that video that you've seen it on? Is it one of his latest ones? Is it?
Yeah, it's UFO'S.
And it's in the comments, you reckon?
Yeah.
Just post it in the side chat for us there, Charles, and people can have a look.
You know what? One word of advice is to maybe just stay clear of these people as much as you possibly can. And just get on with because people might be bored, stupid, listening to us talking about interchannel rivalry and.
But it's not really. We're not jealous. We're not jealous of them at all, and we're just trying to correct things out there.
Paul, I don't even listen to them. But what I suggest we do is rise above that.
Yeah.
Well, we are above that. Whenever they attack me, I don't attack them with names. I just say their nicknames, like Goofon or whatever names they're using in the comments. I don't call them all sorts of different crazy names, I might call them morons, but that's about it, I don't sort of go out my way just to make nicknames for people. I don't use the N word or the P word and all that sort of stuff on them, or the C word. You remember Goofon called me the CUNT name in the comments. It was absolutely appalling. I think he was talking to Plex about it, but we haven't got Plex on with us at the moment. But yeah, it was just appalling in the comment. And that's the person that Dave Scott is defending. We're adults here. They act like children. But it's nothing to do with jealousy, guys. It's to do with correcting the facts, right? And the truth always wins. That thing about doxing. Never heard any link. I was never given any email with the link. They just attacked me straight off, But if you haven't seen it, I think it's hey, Susan's figured it out.
Susanated donated $5. Keep your chin up. This is the best UFO channel. No BS.
The Australian accent gets me every time. Because Kiwis see the Australian accent, it stands out. But yeah, thanks, Susan. Yeah, it keeps the message on there longer now, so people can read what you said. So you got the actual message that you sent. I kind of like that, and I made the black background on it now, so you can actually read it better. So that's what I was doing last night at 4 o'clock in the morning before I managed to go to bed and get some sleep. But anyway. Let's get on with the show now.
Just 1 second before we move on to the next case. Area 51 there. Don't get the connection of UFO community and pedo. Maybe they say abductees are victims of child abuse and having nightmares related to child abuse as a kid and therefore grow up a child abuse. Two child abusers. Okay, he's left another comment. Or is it because conspiracy theorists believed to spend a lot of time in basements and the dark web, or the typical Hollywood stereotype that we are all creepers? Unfortunately, there's some people, Mr. 51, that are like that in ufology, but I think they're few and far between. But another thing about like pedophilia and child abuse and abductions. This is why I don't recommend anybody to go under regression. Now, I think you get where I'm coming from there, because there has been people, I don't know if you know this, who've claimed to have been or believed they've been abducted and have gone under regression, and they've come back with memories of child abuse. So that's an interesting little point that came up there.
Yeah.
But sure, man, for me, regression, avoid at all costs. unless you're absolutely hell-bent on it.
Yeah. Of course,
I know
all
that's controversial,
abduction cases.
but
Yeah, but we can't believe all abduction cases. They may have mental problems. Some people out there, so you have to always be aware of that.
100%, but only one case has to be true. Only one case has to be factual.
Yeah, when you got credible people that are in secure jobs, doctors, police, military, and they're not all going to have mental problems, and they're all going to talk about the same experiences. There's going to be some markers, right? As
and that's right. They're not all going to be abused as a child either.
No,
Paul. I'll put it on to Discord if it's on there. If it's come out.
All right. So if you ain't a member of Discord, I'm not sure if
it's
I've got
gone
the link
on there.
Yeah. I haven't got the link handy to join Discord. I'm not sure if Susan's got it handy, but if you paste it in the side comment, people can join our Discord group, and you can get access to all the other material that you don't see on live shows. So if you're not, there's plenty of stuff there, guys. It's all sorts of stuff. We don't just promote our own channel. We're actually a real UFO group, right? So. And we do talk about things other than UFO stuff on the group, and we do have music parties in the music room, and we just relax. So yes, we're just a community, and we're a happy community generally. Just takes one bad egg. Yeah, it just takes one bad egg to ruin it all, and that's why we have rules in place for dealing with it. But hopefully people come to their senses if they've got some sort of dispute and just lay off the attacks, because it's just not going to go anywhere. As you know, I'm under attack all the time for just debunking, and saying not allowed to use their material, which is just absolutely nonsense under fair use. Saying I have to get permission to use their video is just nonsense when I'm going to pull it apart, right? And they're not going to give me permission if they don't want the UFO video to be destroyed with evidence that it's not actually a alien craft. We want only the real, true alien craft videos out there, and somehow I don't think aliens are going to let you get anything like that, or the government for that matter. So time will tell whether we actually do find out the truth or not before we die. But I think you got more chance of having a personal experience like we have with visitations once we get into this field. Charles mentioned that he had some strange stuff happening to him recently as well. Do you want to talk about that, Charles?
Yeah, but I don't know whether it's aliens or anything. Believe me, I've never ever in my life I've gone to bed and I've just absolutely just froze. I in bed. My eyes are open. I know exactly what's going on. I can see everything around when I'm asleep. I'm just looking. I can see, but my head's just frozen. My fingers, hands, feet, everything's just frozen. And I had my fingernails on my missus' back at the time, and I couldn't move. All I could do is just actually dig my fingernail into my missus' back, and eventually she woke up, and then she just like thumped me to stop me from putting it back. I've never had that before in my life. It's just ridiculous. It's happened 3 times now in the space of about 2 weeks. The other 2 times I couldn't get hold of it, but it went on for about 10-15 minutes. I don't know, something like that. But this went on for about 3 or 4 minutes, but no, I managed to just get it to wake me up.
If you start seeing shadows or feeling bumps on the bed, that's how it sort of starts, and then eventually you might see the aliens in the room. But that's what I said to you. Once you start associating with contactees, me, and real professionals in the field, it could come your way. If the aliens are interested in what you have to say. But sometimes I think when you reveal your story, your personal story, maybe we're being monitored. And maybe these visitations are part of a government /alien data collection So they come and put a tag in you so they can track you. That's just my feeling. Maybe there's something more going on. May not be a bad thing. We may actually get the answers to the truth of aliens this way. We may be tagged in the way that we're going to be invited to know the truth before we die, which would be a good thing, even if it's not going to come out publicly. So yeah, there's a lot more to this field than just looking at UFO cases and debunking stuff. There's also people's personal experiences, and we start to see connections happening, right? And I think it's really good people to tell their stories as well, to get it documented. Even
I've never had this before.
Yeah, you never had this before, see? So it could be just keep a journal of things and bring it up on live shows as a good way to document it. That I'm not too scared to tell you if I have a paranormal or some strangeness happening, but we did have a big little quake last week, and normally that stirs up the paranormal, apparently, because it's energy underground after all. It's creating energy fields. So yeah, who knows? It may opening up portals to these other universes that I talked about in my theory. So yeah, just keep an eye on stuff, and anyone in the group also starts experiencing similar stuff that we talk about, let us know, and join our Discord group, and it can be private as well. We try not to slip out information by mistake, but we know how sort of we sort of get caught up in things, and yeah, so it's all cool, it's all good stuff, Yeah, I still think it's interdimensional though. You're not going to see UFO fly left and right and all that unless they want you to see that. It's going to come straight down from space over top of your house, and then they use some sort of beam that allows them to pass through solid matter. So yeah, I don't think anyone's going to get that on video. Personally, I think this is how they operate. That's what I'm seeing more and more as I've been doing this over the years and listening to the stories. It's always UFO shoots off vertically at high speed. That's a real case when I start hearing stuff like that. Yeah, sorry, Robert, carry on.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, talking about disclosure before your life ends, kind of thing. I've had my personal disclosure many years ago, where I've come to the conclusion that I know this phenomenon is a real thing. Would it be nice to have it publicly broadcast? Maybe, maybe not. I think personally the best thing to do if you're looking for disclosure is, rather than just campaign and lobby for it, is look for it yourself. Do your own research. Go look. If something, I think some people have been into this for decades and have never had a personal experience. Well, I have. I've had at least a couple of experiences that have persuaded me that, oh my God, yeah, okay. Not persuaded me, have left me in no doubt that something is going on. Now, of course, I'd love to know what it was, what it is, and what its intentions, what its goals are for me, for all of us.
Mine could be rubbing off you too.
Yes, that's quite possible. There's an old saying that if you take an interest in them, they'll take an interest in you.
Yeah.
And maybe I thought that was a load of horse shit when I first heard that, but now I think slightly different.
Yeah. But I've said before, if they want to come and take me away, they can. If they want, I don't care. As long as they fix my back for me, when it'll come back and I'm all right, I can walk back. But there's so many other people that I've talked to that were so persuaded that they've had these experiences and they wanted to go. They wanted to go, and then they've said, "Hold on a minute, I've got a wife, I've got children. No, I can't go. I can't go." And all of a sudden, they've been, released back into the real world, Yeah.
Well, I mean, you just don't know, do we? There's a lot of people that just disappear without trace, and it's hard to explain them all in.
As long as they bring me back, I don't care. They'll fix me back.
Yep.
I mean, I've had it since I was 21. I'm nearly 60 now, so I've had a bad back long enough.
Yeah, that's cool.
Give me a bit of relief from it, please, somebody.
Yeah.
I don't think they can. I don't think they can fix things. I think maybe they can reduce pain. They control pain, that sort of stuff.
Anything to replace morphine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a zombie maker, isn't it?
Yeah.
Taking drugs all the time.
So it can't be helped, though. That's the trouble.
No. Absolutely, yeah. You'd rather be a zombie and screaming in agony, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I certainly would.
You could run for you could run for president then.
Yeah.
I've sidetracked everybody again, I think. I did last night with Paul. Get back on course now, Rob.
Yeah, like I said, if you got a job and family, of course you want to maybe give a rough location where you are, rather than saying suburbs, say just UK, or just use a fake name, and or you can just tell the story to Robert and he can relay it on a show for you. We've done that in the past.
Yeah, and of course, anything that comes my way, your name will never get out. Trust me, I won't slip up.
But remember, if you join this group, we've renamed stuff so you know what's public and what's membership only. So if you post it to members, they'll be able to read it. And you can do direct messages, which is private. So it's just like a normal social. Yeah. Unless you want to share it. So yeah, just carry on, guys. While I eat.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, well, I like to move the mic away, you see. So where we going next?
Well, I did leave the link about an hour ago, but I think we've been talking a little over that, but that's okay. Right. I'll just put it back there.
I don't see it on the screen here.
No, I did. Yeah, it's there now, Paul.
Okay, so back on track.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
It's nice to have a little chat sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely, of course, yeah. We're not on YouTube now. You know, we haven't got double-figure people listening to us. It's just our community now, so that's cool with me. I'd get a little bit annoyed if it was...
Sometimes being small is beneficial, you know.
Being small is beneficial.
Yeah, small channel. Rather than having 1,000... You know, you see the big channels and the side chats just going crazy and you just can't read any of it. You have to put it on slow motion so people can only type a message once per 5 minutes or whatever it is. So we want this one read out, so let's give it a try, shall we?
Although Arrowhead UFOs are not the most common of UFO shapes sighted, this sighting was even more unusual because of its duration. The craft was seen by the entire crew of the oil tanker British Grenadier for exactly 3 days. The event occurred around April/May 1969, while the British Grenadier was sailing through the Gulf of Mexico. The UFO appeared directly above the ship at exactly noon on the first day. It just seemed to appear as nobody saw it arrive, and it remained above the ship for the next 3 days. According to reports, the craft was approximately 1 mile above the ship, and dark blue in color during the day. At night it appeared as a silvery light. The weather conditions were good at the time, with a clear sky and calm seas. On the first day of its arrival, 1 minute after midnight, the ship's engines suddenly stopped and only emergency lighting and steering were available. The crew managed to restart the engines, which took some time as all the pumps had to be shut down and restarted manually. The second day saw all the food storage refrigerators closed down, and no reason for this event could be found. On the third day at 11:45 p.m., one of the crew noticed that the lights were out in the ship's air conditioning room, and a door leading to the crew's accommodation was opened. The engineer passed through the door to investigate and spoke to 2 firemen. But the next day the same door was found welded shut. Apparently, the door had been welded before the ship left dock, because of a fault, but the door was definitely open for the engineer to have walked through it. A few minutes after this event the engine stopped again, leaving just emergency lighting and steering, again 1 minute after midnight. They were restarted once more, but later it was discovered that the starter motor for the emergency diesel generator had been dismantled. All the parts of the generator were neatly placed by the machine, as if someone had examined it. At exactly noon on the third day the craft vanished in the same manner as it had appeared. Although all these events were recorded in the ship's log, this is the first time, to our knowledge, that this event has been published. We would be interested in hearing from any of the crew that were aboard the BP oil tanker British Grenadier at this time, in order to obtain more information about this sighting. If you were there and would like to write to us, please send an email to grenadier@profindpages.com.
Mm-hmm. That's a crazy case, isn't it?
You wouldn't want the pumps turned off in a nuclear power plant. That could be a Japanese disaster.
Yeah, but the thing is, it was a diesel-powered engine, and it's quite unusual. I've never heard of a UFO case where a diesel engine has been stopped. It's always a petrol engine. We got a spark plug and that, and it's the air that's being ionized. That's actually causing the breakup of the running of the engine. This one's weird, and the guy passing through the door as well that had been welded at him, that almost sounds like, I don't know what the hell was going on there, but it sounds an interesting case. I just don't know what the hell to make of that.
Is it multiple witnesses? Do you know?
Yes, absolutely, yeah, because how many people were aboard? It was in 1969. The entire crew of an oil tanker. Okay, I would say there would have been at least 50 people on board. And it happened over 3 days, and it was all kept in the ship logs. I mean, I could be way out saying 50 people. It could have been quite a lot more than that, but
Gulf of Mexico, it's pretty busy there, isn't it, for shipping and airplanes and stuff?
So you'd have thought maybe another cruise would have seen it, but over 3 days they must have passed some other vessels, but
of course it's near Bermuda Triangle too, isn't it?
I mean, that's why they've appealed for further witnesses, to be honest. If it's not too late.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of them, truly anomalous even.
Yeah. There's not much on that one, is there? We got another link.
No. Well, exactly. Yeah, we've got a few cases to go through here, and there's not a great deal on all of them.
Yep.
So what I'm doing is just.
I think more of these sightings are more out at sea now than they are over land now.
Always has been.
Always has been.
Always has been. Yeah.
So that's more or less them coming from the water, isn't it?
That's my theory of things, Charles. Yes.
Deep down.
Yeah. This is the best hiding place you can get.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think it's like 92%, 95% of the oceans. We don't know anything. We don't have a clue what's under there.
Yeah. See, they could be cloaked right down there, and even our mini subs can't get down that depth, can they? And like Pacific Trench and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the evidence. And there's certain locations where they seem to be going in and out of the water more often than other locations, you know?
Yeah. They seem to travel through the water as fast as they do through the air.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lightning through the water.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable how fast they can shift underwater.
So it's not going to read the header. UFOs on water case. Bradenton, what was it? Florida, 12/13/1973.
Witnesses: Patrick Thrush / John Dowdy / George Montgomery. Patrick Thrush was driving north on 27th Street E when he saw what he thought was an airplane in trouble descending toward the Braden River. As he reached the intersection of 27th Street and Manatee Avenue, the object had disappeared below the horizon. Thrush turned west on Manatee Avenue and drove the short distance to the river. At the river, he pulled his car off the road onto an embankment. As he started to turn the car around, the high beams from his car picked up a silvery reflecting object hovering 20 feet above the river. A tube extended from the object to the surface of the water. "I just sat there a second," Thrush stated. Then he took his camera from the car and took 2 photographs using a strobe. The camera was a Canon FTQL with a 55mm lens. As soon as the flash went off, the tube, which had been at an angle, straightened up and began retracting into the object. When the tube disappeared, the object headed toward the embankment where Thrush was standing. He said he heard several loud clanks and a splash, indicating that something had dropped in the water. The object moved toward the car and descended slightly, passing over the hood of the automobile, missing the car by about 7 feet.
So this is
Thrush
freshwater.
heard something hit the car hood. The object changed direction and moved rapidly to the west in a curved path. When the object first began to move, it was a pale bluish green. As it picked up speed, it changed to a reddish orange and rapidly disappeared in the distance. Thrush found 3 rocks in front of the car, which were warm and dry. They were about 1/2 inch in diameter. He gave 2 of the rocks to Bradenton Police Patrolman Christ Schmidt. The rocks were analyzed as iron pyrite, a substance native to South America. The stones were not radioactive. Thrush estimated that the object was about 30 feet in diameter and about 11 feet thick. It was about 35 feet from shore while stationary. At about 2050, John Dowdy was driving on the Morgan Johnson Road about 2 miles west of Thrush when he saw a bright orange object moving at high speed. The object turned southward, slowed to a stop and disappeared. In the same time period, George Montgomery glanced out of a west window in his home in Palma Sola to see an unusual light in the sky. The light consisted of a bright light with smaller lights above and below it. The two merged into the bright light and disappeared after about 5 seconds. The remaining rock is being analyzed at the University of Florida by Dr. Larry Doyle. Doyle stated that a preliminary examination showed the rock to be a cinder produced from an extreme heat source. Further analysis is being done. Source and references.
Okay, so whereabouts is this location?
Yeah, so you can see that, MUFON have been onto this. Yeah, and we're not hearing anything from MUFON, are we, about the analyses?
Process of investigating it?
Yeah, maybe so. But take into account now, there was a tube-type mechanism that appeared, that's what they said, appeared to be sucking up the water. No, Paul, that was in Florida, mate. You've gone to the UK.
It always goes there by default. It reckons my IP is in UK for some reason, even though it's not. So there's a lot of water on the edge there. So that was the first one. But they talked about Thrush or something. Where's the location?
But the interesting part of this case, Paul, was it spat out the rocks and other dross.
Right. So what river are they talking about here? toward the Bradenton River. So can we see that on the map? Oh, it's got a little water everywhere. Can't see any rivers.
I don't think it's too important. You know, Paul, it's the correlation we're looking for.
Let's see, Bradenton River. Let's see if it comes up. River, there we go. On Bradenton River Park, Florida. Well, it must be there somewhere. League.
Yeah, well, we don't know, do we? We don't know the exact, precise location.
Yeah. It doesn't like that one. We go there. Where's it going to? Oh, right, there we go. You can see the river now. There, I think. There it is. So it's sucking up fresh water from there. Where's that fed from, exactly? Goes on for a fair distance somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's going out to the sea. So what's that fed from? It must be underground spring, by the looks of it then. It's right there. Some sort of lake. Interesting. I thought it might be going to a mountain Alp somewhere, but there's another little stream going this way. It doesn't say reservoir, it says a lake.
Yeah.
But I bet they do get their drinking water from it, probably. It's probably an underground thing, right? Look at all the water pockets they got everywhere, though. The UFO could have got...
And at the bottom of the lakes could be massive tunnels. It could be they could be under the land, under the ground, shouldn't they? No,
Florida is just full of water everywhere. Look at that. It's just amazing. We haven't even got it on satellite. This is just looking at the map. Let's bring up the map. I don't know. Well, it's not as bad as Australia, where you could be laying on the beach and get eaten by a salty, as they call them, a saltwater crocodile. Yeah. Yeah, look, you can see it all over the map here. It's interesting. Definitely a crowded place here, airport. Right next to the sea, look at that. There we go, there's the river. Going out to the mouth. And you can see here they've got lots of boats. Oh, houses in the water. Reclaimed land, I suppose. So they've dumped a lot of soil there and just built houses out there. I wonder why they get flooded. Well, anyway, it's interesting looking at places, I find, when you match it up with the story. So it's right near the sea, and if we zoom right out, it's actually on the inside of where the Gulf is, not the other side. All right, where Bermuda Triangle.
That's where the oil rig thing was looking at. Right?
And there's an airport right there on the coast here, going this direction. Yeah. So I wonder if the plane was taken off and going that way. Charles was bringing up the thing we looked at on a debunk, where it was like a square UFO and above the clouds. And I figured it out to be maybe an oil rig. But I did not consider maybe it could have been a hot air balloon that's shaped like a house. It's a possibility. But it did seem to match an oil rig, and also it could have been like a big oil tanker that's sort of coming towards the port, and we may have seen the front of the ship with all the cargo on it. So there's another possibility, but it did seem to match an oil rig really good on the images that we overlaid. So yeah, if you haven't seen that one, go back and have a watch, see what you think of it.
Exact same spot.
It looked like the plane was coming this way. We didn't get any information from the fraud channels as usual, what flight number, and could look it up on flight radar and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, on to the next bit, I guess.
Yeah, sure. There you go. Moving on to Japan now.
The Dragon Triangle. They got the Dragon Triangle out to sea there, as they call it.
Well, anyway, this is the same year. The last two cases, both in 1973.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what happened there? Alright, no? I thought I copied it, but looks like it didn't copy. Let me just try going. Something funny going on. No?
Well, this picture looks better.
Oh, you've got it?
No, I haven't got it. Maybe now.
UFO, yeah. UFOs and water cases, Japan, 1973.
Oh, it's the right one. I thought I was reading it because it's got the same graphic as last time.
Come on, Carl, get your act together, lad.
Yeah. Okay, you want to read it out? I thought I didn't copy the thing because sometimes it does that.
Over the years, researchers have been intrigued by accounts of UFO sightings in the vicinity of or hovering over bodies of water, and man-made water reservoirs in particular. One of the most recent cases to come to hand is only a one-witness case, and although the observer was afraid, he appears to have remembered considerable detail. This report comes from Mr. Junkai Takanashi, chairman of the Modern Space Flight Association, and APRO's representative for Japan. The witness has been given a pseudonym because he does not care to be identified at this time. The incident took place in July 1973, and at the time, the witness, whom we shall call Masaki Kudo, does not recall the exact date. Kudo, who was a sophomore at a university in the Kanto district, was employed during the summer as a night watchman at a lumber yard in a small industrial town on the south coast of Hokkaido.
Okay, for those that don't know, a sophomore is a second-year student. I suppose most of you did know that, but I just wanted to clear that up anyway. Another thing why the witness wanted to remain anonymous. Now, that's typical of Japan because their social standing is kind of everything to them. To go talking about UFOs in Japan, when Japan took such a dim view of UFOs over the years until recently, they've decided to launch their own UFO investigating group, which is kind of joined up with TTSA. So that's kind of interesting, but that explains a little bit about the person and why he wanted to stay anonymous. It's just Japan's culture.
Mm-hmm.
Hokkaido.
Moving on.
The incident, recalled to have taken place in July 1973, took place in the lumberyard, which is a deserted, lonely place with only a few dark warehouses and chimneys in the distance. Kudo notes that the job isn't a particularly pleasant one as he was the only guard. After making his rounds of the lumberyard, he returned in his car to his parking place, switched on the car radio, lit a cigarette, and was looking up at the clear night sky through the driver's window, when a streak of light ran across the sky. Inasmuch as the light went out immediately, he thought it might have been a shooting star, but then the light reappeared at the very spot where it had gone out, in the same fashion as a bulb would be switched on, travel some distance, then be switched off and on again. It looked to be the size of a baseball and orange in color. Kudo admits that he was quite frightened, but he did watch the light, which moved to and fro in all directions within the limits of 1 meter. No exact estimates are given. We don't know if this was at arm's length or what. Suddenly, Kudo said, the light began a spiraling descent, and when it was down to an altitude just above the dome of a cement factory in the distance, it began to send out what appeared to be intermittent green light rays in one direction, which he calculated to be north. At this point, Kudo noted, the whole episode seemed to be science fiction-like, and he was hoping that what he was watching would prove to be a dream, or his imagination. After it had stopped its signaling, the object or light began to descend over the waters of the bay, describing a large arc which was executed with startling speed. Because the bay waters were within his range of vision, Kudu was able to observe what transpired from that time on. He said the light descended to an altitude of about 20 meters, 75 feet, above the surface of the water and stopped, and then from the underside of the light came what appeared to be a glass-like transparent tube, and when the leading edge of the tube touched the surface of the water, that part of the tube began to glow and appeared to be sucking up the bay water. Accompanying the projection of the tube to the water was a sound which Kudu described to be like the sound of a cicada insect, which emits sound like min 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 min, but the sound accompanying the tube was not so monotonous, and appeared to be lower in pitch.
So they might be using light to actually kill any bacteria that's in the water as it's going up, I suppose, but like we do with UV light, right?
Well, it's interesting, and that tube has been mentioned again. Yeah, and I tell you what, yeah, there's dozens and dozens of cases like this. I mean, I couldn't bring them all to the table tonight. But it's certainly I know this is a single witness case, but the guy obviously is not an attention seeker, is he? Because you wouldn't remain anonymous if you want attention. So yeah, it's an interesting account. I mean, can't bet your house on it, but
yeah,
it doesn't sound anything like human technology, does it? To me, it's definitely of interest. Okay, roll on.
Kudu at this point was very puzzled and quite frightened, and dropped his head down, and when he lifted his head again the object appeared to have finished its sucking action, and was maintaining its position in the same place. The next maneuver by the light was to head toward Kudu, who became more frightened, and sat there glued to his seat watching it approach at about 50 meters altitude, becoming larger until it was as large as a volleyball. The intensity of the light had diminished as compared to its light at a distance. Or, Kudu said, it might have seemed so as the surroundings were lit up by its light, so that it was like daylight, and was white instead of the original orange.
Yeah, he first mentioned the baseball, then he's mentioned the size of a baseball, and then he's mentioned the size of a volleyball. I think what he's saying is that's how big it appeared at a distance to him. You know, if you hold 1 cent up at a distance, and you look at it like this, it's going to appear really small, isn't it? Because it's at a distance, you know, a baseball or a volleyball could be actually huge.
Yeah, massive.
But it's a little bit confusing.
You could also mean it would have been translated from Japanese as well.
Exactly, English. Paul, and I think something has got lost in translation there, so it's difficult to say. I mean, you can't imagine something the size of a flipping baseball sucking up water, can you? It has to be bigger than that. And I think, yeah, there's something definitely being lost in translation. Thank you for bringing that up, Paul.
Carry on.
Orange. He could now make out more detail, and noted that it was as smooth and round as a ping-pong ball, and he could now see what appeared to be small windows around the center of the object. In the central one, and in another window 2 windows to the right, he saw 2 eerie, shadow-like figures, which he said were too small and deformed to be called the shadows of men. Kudu said that at this point he bowed his head until it rested on the steering wheel between his hands, which had been clutching the wheel all the time. But he was fascinated also and continued to look at the object, and had the feeling that he was bound hand and foot. As he watched he spotted what appeared to be 3 gasoline drums connected together lengthwise, hovering noiselessly in a blackish dark brown silhouette to the left of the lighted object.
What the hell?
The lighted object with the windows began to move toward the elongated object, and then Kudu spotted 3 or 4 more round, white lighted objects, located to his left and to the right of the long object. Then the 4 or 5 round white objects appeared to be sucked into the long object, which then began to move into the north at tremendous speed. Kudu recalls that as the object moved away, he began to realize his whole body was numb, just as after we sit for a long time for a yogi practice, and his car radio was emitting meaningless sounds. His head was aching severely also. Kudu thought that the experience lasted from 11 to 12 minutes, although it felt as if it was much longer. He also said that he could not sleep that night after finishing his tour of duty on watch. Source and references.
Okay.
The APRO Bulletin, Volume 24.
Yeah, there's some like psychological effects and physical effects from this as well. Do you know what? It might be a single witness case, yeah, but there's something about that has a real ring of truth, you know. I'd count that quite highly in my estimation. I think something happened there. And it seems to be like scout ships as well. They joined, and then the main object shot off at tremendous speed. It's a shame we didn't have a little bit more detail on that, but it is what it is.
Pity there wasn't anybody else seeing it as well, isn't it?
It's a damn shame, but Japan, with its culture the way it is, and the way they look down on the UFO subject, or have done up until present day, it's hardly surprising that
like you're silent.
Nobody else has come forward, you know, which is a great shame. But there we go. Because I mean, look at Tahuchi, flight whatever. He got sacked, didn't he?
Did he?
For talking to the public about yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, the next day he was flying the desk, mate.
Yeah. Because they threatened him as well, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. Right. Where the hell were we now? This was the Japan one. Okay. Next one.
Yeah, I was just posting in the side. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the follow button. We need to hit 50 before I can actually get more options for Twitch. I don't know, they got all these regulations. So yeah, all these subs from BitChute, if they're arriving here, would be really handy if some of them actually followed on Twitch, so we can actually make things better. YouTube I'm not too worried about anymore. It's like a backup channel as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And I think censorship in the next 4 years is going to get worse there. Apparently they're trying to shut down BitChute now, the corporations. He's been under attack. They take away his hosting. The providers are trying to silence him. He's had to remove videos on BitChute, which is not the point of free speech. Anything that's talking about corruption in the voting system. So yeah, more shit we have to deal with. Did you post the link? I don't think he did. He didn't hit enter, did he?
He's just gone to the toilet, I think.
Yeah, I don't think he hit enter. He does that quite often. They said, "There we go," didn't he? And then he walked away. Yeah, so censorship's just going to get worse and worse out there. In fact, some woman, what was her name, wants to round up all the Trump supporters and stick us in Firma camps. This is true. They want us to all be put on lists if you voted for Trump.
So everybody knows who you are.
Yeah, so they know who you are, so they can harass you and silence you.
Oh, God.
United States of China. Yeah, it'll be
more open to anything, really, isn't it? Any sort of comments.
BitChute was set up because of the censorship on YouTube, and the first thing they did is try to block PayPal on it. So you had to go to Bitcoin, But now they've got the service providers, as you know, that do DNA, not DNA, DNS, and hosting can take all that away from you, so you got no website. That's why another competitor called LBRY has actually created a peer-to-peer platform using their own app. I reckon BitChute's probably going to have an app eventually, so you can use it on Windows, so you don't need a website. So everything's driven by the users that use it, stored. Everybody shares a chunk of the website, and it can't be taken out because it's not in one place, you see. It's with millions of people using the system. This is what happens with censorship. Clever people work out new ways to do things, so it can't be taken down. So censorship actually drives creativity. That's what I call it. We don't like to be told what to do on the internet because it's meant to be free speech. So Trump was going to change the rules for the social medias to be taken over the coals, and that probably won't happen now, as you know. Elections.
Still going to fight
I think you find there's going to be a lot of protests and riots, and maybe people are talking about sea war. I can't say the word. We've got to be careful what we say. We might not be able to upload our video otherwise. But yeah, just beware. This is going to affect the UFO stuff as well, and probably our live streaming as well. So if we lose BitChute and Twitch, I think Twitch is under fire as well. Apparently, copyright trolls are hitting it pretty hard. Anyone that's got any music in the background and stuff like that. So yeah, they're just trying to attack the whole system that's not part of Google now. It's evilness out there, especially in America.
They want to know everything about everybody. They don't know what's going on and what you're doing and everything now.
Yeah. With peer-to-peer technology, it's encrypted, and it's called hiding in plain sight. So if you've got 1 million people, you've got 1 million IP addresses that all sharing chunks of the same file. They can't go and arrest everybody, although they'll probably try to if they adopt the Chinese human rights style of things and prison system.
Yeah, right there. Try to silence them.
Yeah. First of all, they take away your guns. That's the first stage, anyway, and that's already happened in New Zealand. So we're we're defenseless on New Zealand, pretty much now.
I don't think American people have that.
No, that's why it's strange that half of Arizona voted for Biden, who wants to get rid of their guns. So it doesn't make any sense because Arizona is meant to be really gun happy there. There's a lot of there's a lot of abnormality going on, but yeah, they're trying to cover up lots of things out there. My mate actually saw firsthand some corruption in the voting happening with his own eyes, and he reported it to authorities, and he said they weren't really interested. So this is the future of our governments, guys. Global. A new world order is not so far-fetched, and they're trying to get rid of Bitcoin for some time now, haven't they? So, and they want to get rid of money, so they can actually simply flick a switch and you have no money to buy food or pay your rents. So this is the future that we're going to look into. So everybody should be protesting against that. Once it goes completely electronic, they can ruin your life. We should be really worried of our future. They already did that. Yeah, they tried to do it with C19, right? They said they weren't going to handle money. So lots of things seem to be almost planned in a way. Not to be a conspiracist, but everyone that was said in the past this is going to happen is sort of happening now. So maybe it's not a conspiracy. We know that they were talking about being spied on for years, and everybody laughed at Alex Jones, but that come true. So, yeah.
Well, you're right with Alexa and everything as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
Them Alexas in the house. That's all spyware stuff.
Yeah.
I know everything.
Yeah. Plus, they can listen to on your mic and camera on your devices. So, yeah. So you just got to be careful if you think you're being monitored. But you can actually get Faraday cages for your phone and stuff and just stick it on that if you're a bit paranoid about stuff being spied on. And put some tape over your mic on your laptop and camera if you're not sure about that. I've actually got blue tack on mine. You can just peel it off. I'm just careful not to let my cameras look at me. Even the watch phones and Weebits, my watch phone's got a camera, and even that I'm a bit dubious about. So I can turn the camera around so it faces a wall, but yeah. But I used to think it was all complete nonsense. Now I'm starting to believe more and more that we're being monitored, not for good reasons. And it might be part of why we have so many problems with our show as well. Might not just be to do with aliens, it's to do with our political views as well. So, yeah. But like I said, politics is politics, but when it starts interfering with your freedoms, we've got to take it a bit more seriously. You know, censorship is pretty bad out there. And I was just listening to what they did to a guy that I followed. He was very factual. He always brought up FBI stats and stuff like that, but for some reason they got him. And some guy wrote a big hit piece in mainstream media about him being a neo-Nazi, which is untrue. And it just went viral, and he got called into his office and was sacked by the boss. And he's never been able to get a job again. And he reckons he was a high earner in the advertising field, doing Nike and all that sort of stuff. So I've posted that link on Discord if you want to go and listen to his story. But I think he got harassed, and this is how they silence people, right? They can destroy characters, and this is why I'm a bit concerned about this pedo tag being floated around too. It's all part of the same ploy to get us guys, and they're going to silence us eventually. I think next 4 years is going to be very interesting. I know Susan's into QAnon stuff, but I don't believe too much into QAnon. But the QAnon hasn't actually been exactly evil and not exactly wrong either, but there's various aspects where they've put in 5G and all that sort of stuff, which is a bit nonsense. So but I don't think it's insider QAnon myself. I think it's just someone that's monitoring all the feeds out there and getting it out there as soon as possible before all the other websites posted up, right? So it looks like he was the first to know about it and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, carry on. Robert,
next link on.
Robert,
yes.
you posted a link, but you didn't hit the enter key, so we started talking.
No. I was waiting for you to finish, Paul. Otherwise, it could have got lost in the side chat. You see, no, it's just something else I wanted to bring up before we go on to the next case. I got a friend request the other day, midweek, about Tuesday or Wednesday. It was from someone called Kimberly Clark. Now, she had one mutual buddy, which was Richard Doty. Okay? So I'm talking to this girl now, and if it's a girl, I don't know. It could be a fake profile because this girl's a looker, if she's real. And, you know, I'm talking to her, and she's talking about football with me. She claims she's from New York, and she knew who Chelsea's manager was and all this stuff, you know? And I thought, this is suspicious. And then I was waiting for it. I knew I was going to get, after buttering me up and talking about football and all things alike. Yeah. She turns round, and whoever this person is with this good-looking female profile, she turns round and says, I'm a binary options trader.
A what?
A binary options trader.
A binary?
Yeah. What's that?
Exactly. I don't know, child. Now, it's a form of gambling. Now, just say, for example, you betted on shares in a certain company going to a certain point at a certain time, you can actually put money into that. Now it's banned in a lot of American states apparently, and there's a huge fraud industry that's related to related to criminal networks. Just Google it, binary options trading, and you'll see what it's about. And I didn't like it at all. And this person was quite insistent to the point where I had to block whoever it was. And you know what? There was just times in that conversation where I felt like I was talking to Richard Doty and nobody else.
The premise behind binary option is a simple yes or no proposition. Will an underlying asset be above a certain price at a certain time? Traders place trades based on whether they believe the answer is yes or no, making it one of the simplest financial assets to trade. Sounds a bit dodgy to me.
It's dodgy as hell, mate.
You do get people that try to hit you up like a normal person, then try and sell you something. It sounds like they're trying to. Yeah. I bet there's another option to it there as well, where they get percentage of your trades. So if they sign you up.
Yeah, I always think of these things as being like pyramids.
Yeah, Ponzi as they call them.
A lot of people at the bottom getting nothing, so they can get stuffed.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I wasn't being completely ignorant, and it was just I said, listen, I got to go out now. Speak later.
Yeah.
And 4 hours later, you back home yet? You know, I didn't like that. I don't like anything being pushed on me, so I had to get shot. But you know what? I did have this up, and I've talked to Richard Doty on a couple of occasions, and I've asked him some fairly hard questions, so I won't go into that now. But was this his own little way of having a go at me? I don't know. I really don't know.
It could be any of his followers as well. There's a lot of mentals out there.
There was one mutual friend, and that was Rick Doty.
Well, I don't have to worry about Doty because he ain't on my list. And I don't have to worry about Dolan either. He's blocked me. So, well, his missus did anyway.
Just have to worry about third phases, mates.
Yeah, especially if they're putting, if they're making rumours of pedo out there. Yes, guys are clopping out again. I think maybe you need to drop out and in. Since you've gone to the toilet there, Robert, it seems to have been gone wrong.
Okay. Okie dokes.
You want me to drop out as well?
Not yet. Just wait till he comes back. And then you do it as well. Okay. Now you can do it. Now you can do it. Oh, you've gone already, have you? There we go. We've got Robert back. Yeah, so, I think we can talk over each other now without any fading. It seems to go crazy like that sometimes, yeah. Okay, so, binary we're finished with, is it? Close it.
Yeah. That was...
I'm back.
Okay, so whereabouts was this place in Japan exactly as well? Kanto District. Let me see. Kanto. I can't hear your bird. Is he sleeping, is he?
No, he's not with me. He's with the wife.
Yeah.
She's still watching the telly before she goes to bed.
Right.
Do you know most people have a crazy dog or crazy cat? But
yeah, I got a crazy bird.
You got a crazy bird. Yeah, okay.
He was tapping on the headphones the other day.
Does that include or disclude misses?
No, it's just a bird.
Okay, just a bird.
The feathered kind.
Okay, I kind of got it now, I think.
Yeah, but I say we sat on my shoulders the other day and we tap on my headphones.
Yeah, I
had to get him off.
I said, was he trying to get in and debunk some bird videos that we were looking at? He can't talk though, can he? He can't say any words.
No, well, he has tried sometimes what
Has
you're
he?
doing and stuff like that. You can make it out. It's not very often. It's more summertime he tends to do things like that.
Look at that big trench out here.
Yeah.
There's a triangle. They do call it a triangle out that way too. Yeah, it's pretty. They're on a rough piece of undersea stuff there. Look at that. No wonder they get tsunamis.
Yeah, and earthquakes. Yeah.
Ring of fire right around there. Okay. What's happened to the picture?
Next link.
And let me just fix these guys up. You switched screens. Yep. Next link. Have we got it?
Yep.
Let me see if it copies. Let us know if there's any crackle on the audio, guys. We got caught out yesterday in the last hour. I didn't know it was crackling. And I haven't even checked myself. I know you guys sometimes don't hear it. But I think it's alright now. Can't hear any crackle myself. I normally do random checks myself just in case people don't tell us, but I didn't yesterday. We got caught out again.
Well, I didn't do anything at all.
Sight and report of UFOs emerging from ocean. Okay, so let's start this one off.
I am a 53-year-old social worker that grew up in Puerto Rico. Since the age of 13, I have been surfing in the west coast of PR, and on many times UFO have been sighted by me and other surfers. At that time, we did not make much of it, because we thought people would make fun of us, or say that we were high on drugs. Later in my life, after realizing that other people came out to tell their stories, I have decided to come forward. On one occasion, around 6:30 a.m. that is the best time to surf, by the way, several silver-colored objects came out of the water about half a mile from where we were waiting to catch a wave. These objects were round and hovered in one position, then they took off straight up at a speed that I cannot explain, but they disappeared so fast it was incredible. About a half hour later, the objects came back, I think it was around 6 or 7 of them, and went into the ocean. We never reported it to anybody, we just thought it was a military practice, or other things that we did not know about. This all happened in the year of 1971, January, I do not remember the exact date. I am only reporting this one event, but we had many more sightings of this kind since we surfed in the west coast of Puerto Rico. By the way, this event happened in Rincon in a beach known to surfers as Tres Palmas, and there were about 8 to 10 surfers that day. Source and references. Reader www.ufok.
Yeah. So a short one, but
Very
interesting. Short. Yeah. But the evidence is, it's starting to build up, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's making a fairly strong case overall, I think, and we'll go straight on to the next one.
Okay.
There we go.
Speedy Gonzales. UFO splashes into water in Rainbow Lake NH. What's NH?
Yeah. I think it's New Hampshire, Paul. Although you see a couple of names in there like Manchester, and that's nothing unusual in the States because, come on, after all, we invented the Americans.
Yeah. And a lot of the names.
Sorry, Susan.
They took the names with them.
I didn't really mean that, but we did invent you.
Yeah. They took
New
the
York.
UK names with them as well.
New York. Is that New Hampshire?
That's what I just bloody said.
No, New York it's got, not New Hampshire.
No, NH will be New Hampshire, I would imagine.
Unless it's a typo. Sometimes it happens. Maybe they meant New York.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Because H is under Y. I reckon they meant New York there. Because that's where it's gone on the search here.
Wait, let's have a look.
Looks like a typo to me, but I may be wrong. Where is New Hampshire, though? Is that in New York? Maybe it is.
Yes, there's let's have a look on the map.
I know that sometimes we get two locations. Couldn't be two Rainbow Lakes, could there, by any chance?
Just up from Massachusetts.
There we go.
There we go for what?
Just above Massachusetts.
What are you talking about there on Google? Oh, there, New Hampshire. So it is in New York. There you go.
Yeah.
Vermont.
Yeah.
It said New York,
so
I'm pretty sure. Is it talking about the Union state, I think? Not actually New York.
Yes, New York. Yeah, not New York, but New York State, yeah.
There we go. We've had cases in this area before with UFOs, around the river there, I think it was. Was that the place that... is that the place that had those remote helicopters there again?
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. We just did a case recently that was in that area.
There's a campsite there, didn't they? Yeah, a campsite there.
Yeah, right next to the Canadian border. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Better read it out then. Where is it? There. Couldn't see it.
Thursday, October 4th, 1973 UFO sighting unexplained. Several local residents and a motorist on Bypass 28 reported seeing unidentified flying objects Tuesday evening about 8 o'clock near Rainbow Lake. Underscore 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 of Spruce St in Manchester told police that he was driving along the bypass when he saw a bright object in the sky hovering over Rainbow Lake. He went in closer to investigate and heard something crash into the lake.
That's funny.
Several persons who live by the lake were outdoors at the time and say there were two objects moving in the air. Underscore 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 of Hilda Ave saw the objects and described them as whitish yellow in color. A Mark Ave resident who asked not to be identified told police that the objects were about the size of a steering wheel. Other witnesses also said the objects were 2 to 3 feet in diameter, but several asked not to be identified. The two objects descended towards the lake, according to the witnesses. Then one of them fell straight down and then splashed into the water, creating ripples on the shore. The other soared upwards and vanished. The East Derry Fire Rescue Squad lowered a boat and searched the lake for 2 hours, but no trace of a fallen object was discovered. Police have received over 40 calls concerning the UFO sighting. They speculate that the objects were meteorites or military paraflares. Swamp gas is also considered a possibility. A follow-up appeared the following week. Thursday, October 11th, 1973. Divers strike out. At the request of Chief underscore 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 2 divers descended into
even the reader sounds disgusted.
In an attempt to resolve reports of an unidentified flying object that 3 witnesses claimed splashed into the lake on October 2nd. My note,
can't say we're boring.
More than 20 witnesses later. The divers swept the Silta Lake water with powerful searchlights. Prepared by the murky water, and they could not see more than a few inches ahead at any time. Said one of the divers, the only way they're going to get anything out of that lake is
you better grab another beer.
Chief underscore 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 said he has no plans to drag the bottom and considers the matter closed. Source and references.
Watch out, Robert's gonna fly.
From the Dairy News. Thursday, October 4th, 1973.
That's alright, you can always blame me like you usually do.
No.
I've got water in my eyes, I can't see what I'm doing now. I don't know if we managed to understand any of that story from the laughter.
Don't worry about it. It's one of those things. Okay, I'll wait till you guys calm down.
I was ready for you to stomp off.
When I sent some message to Paul, I sent Discord, I thought underscore.
I thought, I know, Robert's going to blow his top. He's been very calm lately, so
Give it up now, Paul.
I can't fix technology.
No.
I can only do so much, guys. Well, that's just so funny, though. But it's more funny when you know people's personalities when stuff goes wrong. Anyway, so you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, I'll just do a recap on the case. Like at about 17:45 in the afternoon on this clear day, their attention was urgently drawn to a strange phenomenon taking place. A huge circular disc-shaped flying object of some 30 meters approached and flew over the group at only some 300 meters above them. Following that, the tremendous aerial object took up a position very near and hovered there, suspended in the sky, right over the river where they were fishing. At this point, it was only some 700 meters away. The crew watched in amazement. All the other observers could clearly see that the base of the flying disc was circular and flat with a small circular depression in the central part. The area around this concavity and its periphery, Jesus Christ, I'm getting tongue-tied here, was divided by radiating lines or segments similar to the spokes of a cartwheel. Blah, 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 blah. There's quite a bit of detail about the actual thing itself. But again, we have 3 luminous tubes of blue neon light were projected like cylinders extending straight down from the ship to the surface of the river. So again, we have a case like this where there seems to be some kind of cylinder, tube, whatever it is, that's sucking up this water.
Yeah.
But it's not a green light this time, it's a blue light. I suppose blue and green is close in the spectrum anyway.
Looking back down again, it suddenly discharged a luminous beam, like electrical sparks in the direction of the water. When the beam of sparks touched the water, it became violently agitated in that local area. A few seconds later, this ray of light disappeared, and the recessed opening in the right side discharged another ray similar to the one on the left, and repeated the same phenomena of disturbing the water. Stunned by this remarkable spectacle, 5 observers, each of them simultaneously received the following telepathic message saying, "Do not be afraid. Nothing unpleasant will happen to you. Remain calm. We are working here. In the future, Earth will know." Geez, man, I don't know what to make of this. This has gone like a step ahead of the other cases where there's actually contact of some sort between the occupants of this craft and the people observing it. So I don't know. I don't know about this one. And it's South America again. It's Lima, Peru. But it's also 1979, and yeah, and that's interesting in itself. Okie dokie.
It wouldn't have been a meteorite anyway, because you just smashed the water, wouldn't it? And made tidal wave and everything, and made a meteorite.
Oh, geez, yeah. Yeah, they'd have been bubbling all sorts.
Yeah. And they'd have found that as well, or well, I say they might not. I'm going to yourself,
You'd
wouldn't
have
it?
thought so if they were determined they would have found it, yeah.
It would have muddied all the area, then, wouldn't it?
And the whole event would have been over in a second.
Yeah. I wonder if these crafts are going into the water and so like, cloaking themselves under the water.
Quite possibly. I mean, I'm not even sure that bothered about cloaking, to be honest. That's my opinion anyway.
Well, there might actually be... well, aliens don't have to be like this. There might actually be like sea creatures anyway that can breathe water, and they can withstand high pressure under the sea anyway. Why life has to be like walking around like us. That's why people have said maybe they make androids that look like us and they control them because that's what we look like. Doesn't mean that they look like the same thing. They could be insects, they could be sea creatures, and also the UFOs could actually have liquid in them, which might be part of the reason why they can travel at high speed even. Who knows? Because
it could be like a fish tank inside, couldn't they?
Yeah. It can withstand faster speeds and all that sort of stuff, and inertia and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but that's too kind of black and white for me, Paul. I'll tell you why. When these things shoot off at tremendous speed, there's one thing that's missing, that's consistently missing. No sonic boom. Ever.
Dead silent. That one.
So
dead silent.
It's playing some kind of trick, and it's just it's not breaking the law of physics. You cannot break the law of physics. Physics is physics. It's just breaking our current understanding of physics. We just haven't caught up yet.
Within 1,000 years, we'd probably be there. If man's still here.
Exactly, Paul. I mean, sorry, Charles. There's no way in hell that our 25th century physics is going to be the same as it is today, and there's no way that 32nd century physics is going to be the same as it was in the 25th century.
Well, in 1,000 years, we'd be like Stone Age people now, wouldn't we?
Yes.
So.
I think some of them are still Stone Age.
I won't mention any names.
And we got another link to go.
Right. Whaley Lake.
Well, it's been the most enjoyable Sunday I've had for a long time.
Oh, you could have a laugh, haven't you, Charles?
Yeah.
I've given up taking it bloody serious for now. Rob is calm for now. Yeah. Don't tempt fate, Paul. There we go. New case.
How was your holiday with your mate?
Extremely drunken holiday. No, it wasn't. It wasn't really like that at all. But the only thing was, we were watching the boxing on the Saturday night, and then we had the football in the afternoon on the Sunday. And I thought, geez, I'm not going to make it back for the live. I'm certainly not going to make it back sober. As it happened, I did. I could have done it, but I wasn't sure, so I thought it was best as a precaution to cancel it, you know. But I don't see that happening again for a long time now, anyway.
So where's this one? Another lake.
Another lake.
Next door too. Whereabouts is it? Not far away. Alright, onto the other side of the land. Is it a saltwater lake, or is it still a lake inside fresh water there? Oh, where's the lake? Is there a lake there? Oh, yeah.
Ooh, back out a bit.
Yeah, what's here? Buildings. Where's the lake then?
That don't look like water to me.
No, has it got the wrong place?
Main roads.
It did say lake on the screen. Whaley Lake. Don't see any water.
There's water there.
Oh, right,
Is there
is.
water there?
Oh, there,
Yeah.
yeah, there is. It's just very dark, like the greenery.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not too far away from the other one we just had a look at.
Mm-hmm.
If we pan right out. It's 4 hours drive away.
Yeah. Remember now we were moving on to 1984, so there's time differential.
Mm-hmm.
Took place on Whaley Lake in Holmes, New York,
Oh,
Southern
yeah.
Dutchess County.
Ooh.
Here is what
That's-
happened to myself and my best friend back in the summer of 1984. The interaction we experienced took place on Whaley Lake in Holmes, New York, Southern Dutchess County. This event happened right after one of the incidents at Indian Point Nuclear Facility, which is about 30 miles southwest of our location. I and my best friend decided to go out to look at stars as it was clear that night, so at dusk 8:30ish we got in a small aluminum rowboat powered by an electric motor and set out across the lake towards the train tracks, 1/3 mile east. There was a lot of activity in the sky, such as heat lightning, planes, and what sounded like the end of a fireworks show far off in the distance, the low thud-type explosions. After about a 20-minute ride in the boat, we were looking in opposite directions of the sky, and I saw a searchlight scanning the railroad tracks on the south middle side of the lake, and told my friend, who laughed and said I was seeing things. Then I told him it was back, and this time he saw it also. When we discovered there was no sound and therefore no helicopter or plane for it to come from, we freaked out, then it vanished. I can estimate that the distance from our boat to the railroad tracks that were searched by this light was less than 200 feet, more likely closer, and bear in mind on a lake at night, we can hear people speaking in a normal voice across the lake as sound carries, and there are very few houses in that location. I remember it as a white light, and it was shining down and moving as if it was searching the tracks, then looking up and wondering where the hell it was coming from. After we talked about this, we headed north between the big island, houses on it, and the tracks. Further north you go, there are no houses on that side of the lake, about a half mile. We passed the end of the island and continued north, and saw an incredible bright fluttering light that was about 15 to 20 feet above the tracks and coming out of the woods, and my immediate thought was, oh, it's a train, which quickly turned to fear as it stopped at the edge of the tracks and the water, and again not a sound at all. So my friend and I turned off the putt-putt motor, as we called it, and were wondering what the hell it was, and by now we were very scared. I was
Sounds
19,
like your sighting.
and my friend was the same age. After watching for a short while, we decided to turn the motor electric and headed right towards it. As soon as we began to move, it began to move directly towards us, and before we met we turned the boat around and retreated, and the light did the same. Now let me try to describe the light. It was the brightest thing I have ever seen, and although it was stationary it was in constant motion. Fluttering white, amber, green are the colors I recall, a sort of fireball more than an object. We again headed towards the light, and it again headed to us. We chickened out again. At last we said, let's go for it and see what happens, and this time we met somewhere in the middle. The light went around the boat, and I could not see it, and asked my friend where it was. At this time he was illuminated by a light, and I could feel heat on my back shoulder, and my friend cried out, it's behind you. I would estimate it was 15 feet behind the boat, and about that same height off the water, give or take a few feet. I asked my friend what he felt like as this light was still on him, and he replied almost in tears that it felt like every molecule in his body was being vibrated. We were terrified, and I would say from the time we saw the light flying down the train tracks until it disappeared was 15 to 20 minutes, perhaps 5 minutes directly at the boat fluttering around it. I just remember it being gone and only seeing a light. My friend had a sense of a craft also. Some other points are as follows. This all happened not far from the island where we could hear people talking and enjoying themselves on a nice summer night on the lake, and it was as if no one saw it. We were maybe 1/3 of a mile away. At one point we were yelling. We headed back to the lake house, and when we got in the house the light was on, and the boombox was on, and a tape was playing, and it was stuck, like repeating itself.
Boombox.
There's no way we left either on, as we had just gotten in trouble with my stepfather, who owns the house, for going out and leaving the lights on. No other family members were home. And then there's the timeline. It was around midnight when we got home, yet we estimated that the entire boat ride should have been 90 minutes, and we left around 8:30 at dusk, maybe 8:45. I am 41 years old and own and operate a small masonry business. I have lost track of my friend since 1989. I did locate him in the fall of 2006, and after not speaking for 17 years, he answered the phone, and within 15 minutes I got right to that interaction we had and asked him to recall any and every detail. He did as if it was last week. We both witnessed the exact same thing, and were within 15 feet of it. We have never reported this to any authorities, and if I was alone I would be convinced I was insane.
Be good to get them on video.
I have always considered getting hypnotized to have a tape recording of perhaps more details, but never have. I have always tried to convince myself our timeline is off, and no missing time exists, but my friend who recalled more vivid details and exact times is positive we were not out that long.
Well, you know, you can be hit out with those drugs, right? And you feel like no time's lost, right? You sort of wake up from operation, and you think, oh right, we're still here. You know, you don't realise hours passed,
like seconds.
Yeah, that's right. So you can see how they could have missing time. It's not actually missing; it's just they were knocked out and don't recall the missing time.
But that shouldn't happen during waking hours.
No, but means there might be that UFOs have some way of releasing some gas over the people that knocks them out, or maybe the light thing. The light thing might do it as well, but missing time is always a wee bit interesting. Makes sense if you're going to abduct someone, you'd sort of knock them out to a gas or something like they do in operating theatres, because they won't struggle then.
Yeah, sure. Now this is obviously a big impact on this guy, because he's one of the founders of this website. I don't know if you gathered that.
The UFO Casebook site, you mean?
Yeah, he's one of the founders of it, because he's talking about his own personal experience. Because you can see here at the top, here's what happened to myself and my best friend back in the summer of 1984.
Right, yeah. And what's the guy's name? Andy.
He just leaves himself as Andy. I tried to find out who he was, but I in the short research I done, I couldn't find the answer to who he was.
Andrew someone?
Well, it's going to be Andrew someone, yes.
Well, do we know any Andrews in the UFO field? Andrew's not really a common name, is it, in the UFO field?
Yeah, but you don't know if that's his real name anyway, though, do you?
Exactly, Charles.
Yeah,
you don't know.
It sounds good case.
Yeah, it does, and it sounds sincere too.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's changed the guy, and he's become very much a UFO person.
Like Paul said, that one's putting down on tape or something, doesn't it? So it's recorded.
Yeah.
Well, at least you can see them talk about it. So they could do their so-called body analysis on it, or voice analysis on it. Yep. We haven't done the FMI, but we could do that at the end, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I think because there's too many cases to go through. But overall of those UFO cases, water-related UFO cases, I have to go full hog. I have to go 5 on them. So I think and looking at over the years, I mean, I didn't have time to include all of them, but just looking at the body of evidence, I think it's quite obvious that something is going on. I know there was 3 or 4 of those cases there that we looked at when there was some kind of tube or second device that came from these apparent UFOs.
Yep. This one sounds genuine to me.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Well, anyway, here's a case that's caused a bit of controversy recently. I won't mention any names, but it was posted on I think it was the UFO Phenomenon, A Serious Look. I don't know if you're part of that one, Paul.
Not sure.
And it was from a 1967 wave that was in Liverpool. And this guy got some fearful stick for posting this article.
That's a long
it's
one.
from the Liverpool ECHO.
Okay, let's see if link works. There's one thing better with the chat on Twitch. We don't seem to be limited on the size of the comment.
Okay. I just need to shoot off and get another beer.
Wave of UFOs. Yeah. Looks like it might need to be reduced. What's happening there? Does anyone actually read any of those terms and agreements? You click the buttons, the next minute you're being knocked down by a police raid. You accepted the terms. We own your kidneys.
Sometimes far too much print, small print. Take a week or something just to read some of it.
Yeah, the legal system's just gone crazy, I reckon. Should be simple terms always, but it's never.
No.
Yeah. There's a good documentary, Terms and Conditions, I think it's called. If you've not seen it, go and watch it. It's quite interesting. They're talking about Facebook having like 30 pages of terms and conditions, and they analysed how many people actually read it, and most people that actually probably all of them, everybody hadn't read the terms and condition. They may have skimmed some of it and had clicked OK anyway. And then they go and ask them, did you realise you agreed to this and agreed to this and agreed to this? No. I just want to use it to talk to my family.
You haven't read it all, have you?
No. Well, have you?
No.
No. And even some of it I can't even understand.
Well, it's like when you get car insurance policies, isn't it? And then you look at the small print. There's more small print than there is print that you need.
Yeah.
All the time. Exclude this, exclude that.
So let's see how this site's going to go.
Yeah.
Is that meant to be a UFO?
Yeah. Now, see that photograph there, Paul, you'll recognise this is lens flare.
Yeah, it's been cropped, so I don't know. Let's see.
If you scroll down, if you scroll down, Paul, please don't do that yet. If you scroll down, you'll see, and it has been cropped, yes. But if you
keeps moving. Keeps wanting to move.
Yeah, it's just a
I was thinking,
crappy website.
is it lens flare or is it a ceiling light?
Yeah,
That's
it
what
is.
I thought
See,
straight away.
if you actually go down, you'll see that there's a lamppost. Go down slowly, Paul. Oh, it's not behaving for you, is it? Nah, it's not behaving for you.
Why didn't you say a lamppost anyway?
Yeah, there is. It is that. It just takes a little time for the
Don't see no lamppost.
Yeah, it's fine for me, but for some reason, it's not behaving for you.
Okay, smaller.
That's zoomed in and cropped. You see?
You reckon there's another photograph, or?
Yeah, that is down there. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. There we go.
There we go. There we go. So you can clearly see now, but that's lens flare.
Yeah, that's 100% lens flare.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is now, the accounts of what was happening at the time are actually good. This went on over a couple of days with multiple witnesses. I mean, dozens and dozens of witnesses. What the Liverpool ECHO have done, they've used this as a stock photo, plus the other one, which is a little bit further up. And the guy got tremendous stick for this for posting fake news. But the account is real. Now, my point here is the damage that the media can do by using these silly stock photos that anyone can see through. I mean, I've learned from you. I wouldn't have known what that was 5 years ago, but now I know exactly what it is. Yeah,
it's the filament inside that there, which is flat.
Yeah, exactly. And you can actually see like an orange kind of aura around the flaming object as well.
But you can see how you see how the fraud channels do it, though. They clopper it so you don't get any visual clues.
Yeah, they cut that out.
Especially those space station ones. They do exactly the same, and they rotate it and all sorts of crazy stuff.
Now, go down to the other one, Paul. The one with the disc in the sky.
That one?
Yeah, that's the one. They've been using this as a stock photo for donkey's ears. Now, Scott Brando was a little bit confused about this one. Yeah, so what he done, he got in touch with the editor of the Liverpool ECHO and asked for an uncropped version of the photograph so he could analyse it, and they blanked him. But, you know, sometimes it's a case of don't shoot the messenger. I think the actual tale of what happened in Liverpool in that time in 1967 has got nothing to do with these actual UFO pictures. And poor lad's been shot to pieces over this.
Yep.
Yeah. Not loads of rubbish.
Yep, comments are normally interesting on these rag sites anyway.
They can be, yeah.
You see, I had to reduce the font so much I can't even read it now. It's not UFOs, it's satellites going up or around the world. Yeah, it could be right. They could be seeing a wave of Starlink satellites 10 days ago. What year was the wave that they said?
Oh, 67, Paul. There was no Starlink then.
No, there wasn't.
There wasn't much in the way of satellites then, to be honest.
Back into 60s. There was then. Yeah. Reported them to the police what they were doing. So someone writing in caps, it's really hard to read. The sky or stress passing on Earth. What's stress? I'm not sure what he means. What's that noise? Is that you playing around, Charles? I suspect this is
not me. Not me.
I thought it must be your doorbell or something. Or was it Roberts?
Yeah, that could be me. I'm not sure.
Tech problem. That's probably you and the smartphone, was it? So is there any decent
I don't even know
comments
where
here?
it is. It's around somewhere.
Be under the cushion of the couch.
Yeah,
There wasn't too much there. Did you actually want me to read this out at all?
Or? Let's have a look.
I don't know if we can. It's a lot of garbage on the page.
No. I mean, I think we actually covered this case before, you know, but it was a different article.
Yeah, they like using the clickbait, don't they? The fraud channels and papers.
Yeah, this is it. The anecdotal side of the case was good and persuasive, but then when you mix it in with fake photography, or not fake photography, but obvious misidentifications like that, it ruins the whole thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And this is what a lot of people were doing on the UFO phenomena. They were saying because the pictures were crap, then the witnesses had to be lying as well. Well, the witnesses never took those pictures. You know, gotta be careful. You're throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
But even if they did, the cameras weren't as good in them days anyway, were they?
Yeah. That's why we need video. Video's a lot better. You need to do pictures and video. We keep talking about that.
Yeah.
Because you got the megapixels now on the photos. You don't get it on video camera. Unless you're recording in 4K or 8K. But still, pictures are going to be even higher quality. They always are. They're generally higher again. So if you got like was it 8K thing now? It might only do 4K video recording, but the picture will still be 8K. So you see what I mean? There's always like a step behind. Yeah. So they're talking about 116 megapixel cameras now, is it? Or 120 megapixel cameras? I think we worked that out. I think we worked that out to be 16K, didn't we, Charles? A few lives back. 13 by 10,000 pixels. 13,000 by 10,000 vertical. That's just crazy. And it's still not going to be good enough because it really comes down. It doesn't matter how good your sensor is. It depends how good your optical sensor is. You know, you won't be able to zoom in on the object to get details, so you're still going to be a blob in the sky.
Yeah. And keep the camera on the object as well.
Yeah, they can't keep it still, and they always film in portrait too. But that won't matter too much if they keep up in the megapixel ratios.
There we are trying to debunk videos that's about 12, 13 seconds long, and you only see about 6, 7 seconds of the thing.
Yeah.
Because it hasn't got on the camera. It's ridiculous.
What are we doing next then? What are we waiting for?
We got time?
Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, we've got 20 minutes. If you want to end in 3 hours, that is.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm okay.
This is an interesting case.
We haven't heard the men in black snoring yet, so it must be alright.
What, you mean you?
Yeah.
That wasn't me, it was the men in black, come on.
We know, don't we, Rob?
We know. Especially when we talk about Roswell. He only snores, so he just can't explain it.
A box-shaped UFO. Oh no, not a box shape, just like the one we just debunked. Oh no, not this one. Wasn't this a fake? This is where Dr. Norton come out. This is where the Dr. Norton days come out.
Wow.
I haven't seen this one. I don't know this one.
New Hampshire, 1956.
The L-shape.
Norton.
They call it L-shaped UFOs, right? So...
Yeah, hold on a minute. Dr. Norton was an invention of Tyler Glockner, wasn't it?
No, I think he found the story and turned it into fake news. It's an unusual case, you see. Really unusual. Kind of looks like an old TV set that we used to have back in the 60s. Yeah, you want me to read it out, I guess. Let's see how we can do this one.
If you don't like the case, I'm sure I can quickly find...
oh, no. We look at all cases, whether they're correct or hoaxed or whatever.
Yeah, but remember, this is Michael Schratt.
Yeah, it's probably why I don't like the case. But anyway, we'll just carry on.
Yeah.
On March 29th, 1966, a very unusual CE2 took place in the vicinity of Hampton Falls, New Hampshire. Box-shaped UFO report from New Hampshire in 1966. Posted by Michael Schratt, August 29th, 2011.
August.
Artist rendition of the UFO described by the witness. Image credit, NICAP/UFOs. On March 29th, 1966, a very unusual CE2 took place in the vicinity of Hampton Falls, New Hampshire. At approximately 4:15 p.m., Benjamin Brackett, age 10, was walking with his Dalmatian dog in a wooded lot behind his home. Continuing onto a path which leads to a pond, he noticed something that was silver-colored sitting on top of a nearby ridge. His initial thought was that this was radar chaff, which had fallen on the branches of a tree. As he drew closer, he noticed a glob with tassels sticking out, which was attached to a silver rod. The rod was estimated to be approximately 1.5 feet in length, and was connected to a box-like structure. When he took his eyes off the craft for a brief moment, the antenna-like shaft disappeared. He was no more than 75 feet from the object. As he continued walking towards the craft, he noticed that it was sitting on 3 legs. Detailed schematic of box-shaped UFO. Image credit, NICAP/UFOs. Suddenly, there was a blast of air originating from the craft which blew pine needles in the immediate vicinity. Concurrently, the object emitted a low-pitched sound and lifted off the ground between 6 to 12 inches. Next, the strange craft stopped in midair, swung around in a clockwise motion, and settled back down again. The primary eyewitness reported that this maneuver was done with mechanical-like precision. Next, the device made electric-like sounds which frightened him, and caused him to think that this might be some type of experimental USAF hovercraft. The unusual craft was shaped like the letter L, and was approximately 60 inches in length, and 40 inches tall. Its exterior texture resembled a cork, and it lacked a highly polished aluminum appearance. Each of the tripod legs measured 12 inches across. A dark brown-colored inverted dishpan, or dome, was located on the lower surface of the craft, which measured 24 inches across. It had 3 small openings which were facing the primary eyewitness. UFO sighting events. Image credit, NICAP/UFOs. On the upper surface of the craft, he noticed 2 small openings, which were approximately 1 inch in diameter. The holes were spaced 6 inches apart, but were too small to reveal any interior details. The tripod legs appeared to be made out of square-shaped metal material, which measured 1 inch across. While wondering what to do next, Benjamin again heard a series of electric-like sounds emanating from inside the craft. Then, another blast of air exited from the bottom of the craft, and it rose to an altitude of 10 feet. Next, it stopped for a split second, and moved horizontally in a southeast direction for about 24 feet. Then, the object again stopped for a split second, and turned clockwise 60 degrees, and shot straight up out of sight. The physical traces left by the object, and the detailed account by the primary eyewitness, make this CE2 case unique in ufology. Source, NICAP/QFO.
It wasn't Dr. Norton, it was his very first fake leaker Tyler did. Area 51 dude talking about L-shaped craft. So he must have read this report and made up a good story anyway. But
yeah,
it does sound really strange, this one. Certainly not aerodynamic by any means. It's like a floating house. Doesn't mean it's not possible, because we do have square-shaped hot air balloons today, and yeah, I'm not too sure what this craft was made of. It could have been, who knows, might have been a strange balloon with tripod thing underneath that someone was mucking around with. Who knows, it may not even be aliens, so can't discount it. And the square tube, and it's really typical sounding of human-made technology there, right?
That's what I say, our homemade.
Yeah.
White.
Yeah. Could even been on cables on a tree, and some kids were mucking around with some, some rockets underneath it and trying to prank someone. Who knows, really? Unless they got a video of this damn thing.
Give the precise measurements as well.
Yeah, like 6 inches apart. It's pretty well observing all that. And what time of day was it? Give me what day it was. Could he see that in the light of the day? I don't know if it said anything at the time.
I'm sure it would.
4 p.m.
4 p.m. Yeah, so it would be like that.
So it wouldn't have been too dark.
Not at all.
So he was 10 years old. It does sound almost like it could be like a prank on someone.
School project.
Almost does look like something you'd build for a tree house and just make it into like a shape of a rocket and just pull it up into the tree, right? I mean,
it's the way that drawing depicts it. There's nothing that's suggestive of being particularly alien.
No.
I don't know. It just looks like something man-made. Or maybe but who would go to the trouble of pranking someone in that way? I don't know. That sounds almost equally as ridiculous as aliens.
I don't know. Kids do some strange stuff. Yeah, plus, he's 10-year-old. We don't 10-year-olds. Doesn't mean he's not honest.
No.
He might be just making it all up too.
Yeah, but has he stuck by his story to this day? I mean, I don't know, but it's Michael Stratt again, isn't it? And he's got this habit of bringing up these obscure cases, which is good that other people aren't familiar with.
It was back in 1966 as well. So I mean, if it was kids, they wouldn't have had all this Facebook and all this tech they use these days for getting in touch with people, would they?
No.
Yeah. Plus, it's not multiple witnesses, so it's less credible, you see.
Absolutely.
What's this got to do with water UFOs, though?
Oh no, we've got. I could have put a lot more of them in there, but I thought we had a bit too much to go through, to be honest.
All right.
But I've
I just need to add it to the list when I do the end of credit stuff. I mean, end of uploads. Oh, I thought I was copying the title. That's not the title, is it? Box-shaped UFO. Stupid thing.
When you edit it, well, leave the underscore in. My miss will bust herself a laugh.
I have to do a Christmas compilation of thing. Funny moments.
You can leave that in.
Hot-tempered Rob moments, and just string all those clips together. I think I'm going to be pretty busy over the rest of the year, probably. But yeah, you could make trigger things. I have a text file that you could read out that triggers Rob.
Okay, whatever. Yeah.
Don't make fun of Rob.
It's all right. No, we're not picking on you.
No, I don't care.
Any more?
Only if you want.
Yeah, carry on if you want.
Well, you carry on, but yeah, we're getting up to 3 hours. When you want to end it, let me know.
Unless you want to end it.
Well, you know me. I've got lots to do after. But anyway,
okay, we'll have a look at one more then, shall we?
Yeah, do one more and then we'll finish then.
Yeah.
The CPU's behaving itself now too.
Geez, this is going to include the YouTube video though, and
this week.
you know, just your guys' opinion now. What do you think of the stuff that Ben Rich was saying before he passed away?
Which stuff are you talking about?
Look, come on, Ben Rich. He was the head of Skunkworks for years, wasn't he?
Yeah, what was the last thing you were saying?
He was the guy who was saying, you know, we now have the technology to take ET home.
All right.
Okay.
What do we think of it?
Right. I'll leave you this little video here, and
I think it's possible, or he could just be a crackpot, a bit like Boyd Bushman.
I think it's a complete. Well, okay, I've got my own opinions, but anyway.
Or it could be disinformation to keep everybody guessing. So it could be lots of things.
Okay, right.
Yeah. So what do you want to say?
I've left the link for you. That's all.
All right.
I've left the link for you.
And what you thinking? It's a hoax to you? But he's not actually on video saying that, though, is he?
Who's that?
Ben Rich saying that statement. It's only a hand-me-down.
No, he certainly made those statements because he used to use it as almost like an after-dinner speaker speech, you know?
Right.
Which is why I take it a hell of a lot less serious than what some people do.
He may have had a few glasses of wine, you reckon?
Exactly.
What do you mean by to send them home anyway, to send them back to where they come from?
Yeah.
No, I don't think we ought to do that if they wanted to.
We can't even go back to the moon because they've lost the plans.
So you want me to play it?
This week?
Yeah,
these
two are quite funny.
We don't know music.
No.
Also said on numerous occasions that we now have the technology to send ET home.
Ben Rich, director of the Skunk Works, we have the power to take ET home. He was the director of the Skunk Works from 1975 to 1991 as well. And he's considered to be the father of stealth technology. He had a direct hand in the development of the SR-71, which is still the coolest aircraft that's ever been built. Fastest thing. You know, one of the things I love about the SR-71, we had to steal, using espionage, a load of the titanium to build the thing, because we haven't got a lot of titanium, but the Russians have got loads. So we had to set up all these like dummy corporations and stuff to buy titanium so that we could build the thing, so that we could go fly the titanium back to Russia to spy on them. I always love that. And this is an aircraft. Quite brilliant.
The way it was designed, obviously under extreme pressures, the titanium and the metal would expand and push together. So the only way you could do it that the plane didn't just pull itself apart, it's like Mach 3, was that to make it quite loose when it's on the ground, so it leaked like crazy. They had to have like buckets underneath it when it was on the ground to like catch all the fuel and stuff that just leaked out of the thing. I just love that.
What's it doing in the air, though?
Building the F-117, which is the world's first stealth operational fighter, and he had an direct designing the predecessor for the F-22 Raptor. So he was a talented engineer, to say the least, and a talented speaker. So where did it come from? 1993 alumni speech at UCLA. Go on, hit me with a famous quote, because I know you got it there.
Well, he's done a few famous quotes, hasn't he? The one in 1989 was the one about having the power to take ET home, but he's also done a slightly more extended quote that was very interesting, where he's we already have the means to travel amongst the stars, but these technologies are locked up in black projects, and it would take an act of God to get them out to benefit humanity.
Yeah,
you can imagine we already know how to do.
See, now we know that the skunk works basically is a bunch of people that sit in a black room or a black hangar, I should imagine, and just have pretty much freedom to do and work on whatever they want.
Yeah.
They have DARPA are involved, Raytheon, all these other companies. I know it's Lockheed Martin, isn't it, primarily, but all these companies flock to.
Well, they're all defence contractors that have all been taking billions of dollars
Lockheed Martin is
taxpayers' money for decades and diverting it into black projects where there's no oversight and nothing's published, no congressional oversight. The president doesn't really know what's going on, nothing. So these are the people that could be doing stuff that we wouldn't know about potentially.
Yeah.
According to Jim Goodall, in the last few days of Ben Rich's life, he supposedly said that it doesn't matter whether you've seen it in Star Wars or Star Trek, we already know how to do it.
I'm a big Trekkie, so I'm like, ooh, transporters. That'd be good. And but he said there's 4,500 people, basically, engineers, some of the most talented engineers in the world, work at Lockheed Skunk Works. They haven't really released anything since the F-22 Raptor. So they've had pretty much 20 years. They've been building something.
Yeah, they've been.
And that was one of the quotes where he said, "They've been doing something."
I suppose the very nature of what they.
Oh no, not the secret space program.
Yeah,
being involved in terms of the stealth technology, means that they wouldn't tell us if it was the next stealth craft they've been working on anyway.
Which is it is a big criticism of this Ben Rich quote of we now have the technology to take ET home, which you see on 1,000 Facebook memes. That a lot of people say he was joking. Now, you mentioned 1989. The big famous time he used this quote was in 1993 at the UCLA alumni speech, when two engineers grabbed hold of him afterwards, this John Harzen and Tom Keller, and was asking him a bunch of questions. But the thing that in the 1989 is important, like you mentioned, is that because that's the year ET came out. So apparently he would do these speeches all over the country, and he would suddenly saying, like, I can't tell you what I've been doing for the last 5 to 7 years.
He needs to stop playing with his mic.
But what I can tell you is the Defense Department just gave me a contract to send ET home, and everyone went away, ha ha ha, and that started this joke. Other people says he didn't say it, and he did. He didn't say it once. He said it a few times. So it was his little quip.
It was like his little party piece, which makes you question whether he was joking or whether there is some element of truth to his statement.
Yeah. Well, I would say
they're taking it as a joke as well.
People say he was joking, so therefore it's not true.
There.
It's pretty much the same reason, because they say he was a bit of a character.
Yeah, when he was asked, are these things ours or are they ET? He said, there's ours and there's theirs. Now, a reporter or journalist asked him that question. And then the journalist asked him, well, how do they, as in ET, get here? And he replied, do you understand ESP, which is extrasensory perception? And the journalist says no. So he returned and says, well, go back and learn about it, because that's how they get here.
What year was that he said that? You know?
Oh, I don't know. It was when did he die?
1990s.
Yeah, I think it was in the 90s. Yeah.
I'll just put that in there. Yeah, we need to really have it on video of him saying that rather than second or third hand, you know.
Yeah, exactly. No. There's no question he was saying that, Paul. There's no question he was saying that. He said it to numerous people at numerous little meetings. And as I said, it was one of the party pieces, like in after dinner speaking. I think like you've got to take it with a huge grain of salt, to be honest. But a lot of the hard heads in ufology have come to believe that we've got this anti-gravity technology, blah, blah, blah. I'm absolutely, totally convinced that we don't have any such thing. We may have it on paper, and that's where it's going to remain for another few hundred years on paper alone. So, you know, when people talk about, sorry, Paul, to bring you up, when people talk about hypersonic stealth blimp balloons, I feel like crying. I do, because there's absolutely no evidence whatsoever. It's a total conspiracy theory to believe anything along those lines, because there's no evidence for it. Now, listen now. Hold on 1 second. I think it was Chance Hanna that put up a post the other day of an aircraft that was caught quite clearly. And the shutter speed was correct. This thing wasn't going too fast, but it was an aircraft that we hadn't seen before. It wasn't one that we know about in the public eye. This thing had an obvious trail. You know, it was used. It had an exhaust that was clear. So it was human as hell. It was still using fossil fuels. That is all we've got. I'm sorry, but that's it. That's as far as we've got.
I was just going to say that there's no man-made craft out there that could keep up with these UFOs.
No, it runs rings round them every single time.
Yeah.
You know, the people, you know, the debunkers that go to this, you know, default position where, but it's some advanced technology from blah, 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 skunkworks or whatever. No, it just doesn't add up. And, you know, Michael Stratt is one of those people that's knocking out this stuff that, you know, we've had anti-gravity stuff since the 50s. Well, sorry, mate, but I think we'd have known about it by now. Even the most secret of UFO, the Blackbird, the U-2 spy plane, 6, 8, 10 years, tops 10 years. Yeah, it's, you know, it's under development and it's out in the public eye. No, we don't have anti-gravity. Maybe on paper. And even
well, speed-wise, that thing could be just like a little put engine going down the road to them things.
You got it, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not highly advanced. It's only highly advanced.
Yeah.
See, that's a hypersonic missile, Paul.
That's back in 2012. But that's one about death drones, Chinese death drones. I'll come back to the top one there. That's quite interesting. The war zone is generally interesting.
It is.
Supersonic speeds could cause big problems for F-35s. That's back in 2000.
Supersonic.
Yep. Not even hypersonic.
Nope.
I just typed it in. This is the search that came up. Hypersonic air power. What year is that one? It's got a government website for it. Australia. Eyes a bit blurry. Hypersonic strike aircraft could significantly benefit Air Force capability. These engines are mechanically less complex and lighter than turbojets. So it looks like they've got something going on there. PDF, you see.
Well, let's have a closer look at it, Paul. Where's it?
Well, it's a PDF. It's on an Australian government site. So
okay.
I'll open up another link, see if it works.
That sort of speed, human-made thing, they're playing Russian roulette, them pilots will.
Yeah,
something goes wrong, they can't eject out of them because it'd kill them anyway, just ejecting out of it.
Oh,
yes, I suppose it would, yeah.
Paste the link to it, hypersonic.
And the thing is, what's the propulsion method?
Well, they're talking about these engines.
Engines, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
That's my whole problem.
Fossil fuel ones.
Yeah. Dumb, stupid chemical fireworks.
I don't know. You have to read the article.
Paul, we can't even produce a battery that lasts a smartphone for 24 hours.
Yes, we actually have. We have batteries that last 10 years.
What?
We got batteries now that last 10 years without recharging. They're called nuclear batteries. They have low grade.
Oh, yeah.
It's just that it would just have to be approved, you see. And the cost reduced, of course, because it has to have a layer of diamond layer. But we can manufacture that diamond layer now.
Yeah, well, you don't exactly want nuclear fission in your mobile phone, do you?
No.
You don't want to be dropping that mother.
And they are looking at carbon batteries that can charge 5 minutes and last all day. So that technology is around the corner. So I wouldn't say... I know you're skeptical, but you got to remember technology goes on a curve, and most of our technology is in the last 150 years. So
yeah, we were like oil companies, won't it? They don't want things happening too quickly because they're making money now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
if you bring out batteries in like that, the battery companies ain't going to be happy, are they?
That's a valid point, Charles. But you can't hold back progress. It will always.
Eventually,
someone's going to make money out of it.
Yeah.
So
you don't develop it unless you're going to make money out of it.
So the artist rendition or a photograph? So what is this? These are the V-shaped craft, look like big helium tubes, right? Lighter than airships. I suppose that's why it could be a V-shape, you're saying. Two of these tubes together. So, why airships? Well, it does defy gravity, and it does get up to the upper atmosphere, right? So yeah, it makes sense to use helium. Well, there you go. It's a big tube shaped like a V. There you go. That's the actual photograph. 175 foot JP Aerospace. So it could be some people seeing that in the sky and it's got lights underneath. Or maybe little engines. Iron engines underneath. Yeah. Doesn't say it's supersonic though. It doesn't say anything about supersonic, but you could see you could use that to launch maybe a small passenger craft in the middle. Which make a full triangle shape then, wouldn't it? If you put a V-shape triangle craft in the middle, and it just lifts it up. Save a lot on fuel. I'll post the link on the side so you can have a look.
Yeah. It just looks like a big balloon.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's why it's called lighter than air.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to do anything too special. I just don't see that doing anything much.
Okay, we're losing people off the viewers, so maybe it's time to wrap up.
Yeah, sure.
Was there anything else you want to bring up? Did we have more on this topic? Hypersonic? Oh, we had the rest of the thing to play, didn't we?
Yeah, you can play that out if you want, but you can listen to it in your own time.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if we should play too much of that one. I probably could skim it. So let's have a look.
Character, a bit of a personality, which he probably was. I would say that's the same reason why I lean towards maybe believing him and actually thinking that he wanted to tell the truth and he was hiding it behind a veneer of humour.
Yeah, I think that's definitely possible. Yeah.
If I knew stuff like this as well, I think I'd want to like let stuff slip occasionally. And I think, if you genuinely had been working on bound UFO aircraft or something, and you were doing an alumni speech, wouldn't you? You'd want to say something, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
A little tidbit. You'd want to say something.
That's almost what he did. Every so often, just gave that one little quote that led people to wonder. Is he joking or is he
telling the truth?
But
this John.
I was going to say, if they weren't in a position of being these black budget military contractors that have no oversight and suck in billions of taxpayers' money and don't have to admit where they spend it, then you wouldn't probably question it as anything but a joke. But the fact that he's in the financial position to have been doing what he says he's been up to.
Yeah. And somebody somewhere must have gone, stop saying that. People, do you know that people actually take you seriously because you're one of the most important engineers of our generation, military engineers of our generation? People are listening to you. But this John Hazen and Tom Keller, they're engineer alumni, and they were at this 1993 alumni speech at UCLA. And they grabbed all of them afterwards, and they were asking him a few questions, right? So Rich was quoted as saying, "We know how to travel to the stars. We found an error in the equations, and it won't take a lifetime to figure out." They asked him, well, an error in what equations? And he said the error in the equations that manage the propulsion systems. So I take that from saying they've had engineered technology. We've been working on it. We've not got very far.
Yeah,
but we've found
40 years now.
Yeah, we've realised what the problem was. We've discussed sort of Bob Lazar quite a lot recently, and we've said Bob Lazar had been a big breakthrough around this time. He didn't know what it was because he thought it was in another part of
Bob Lazar's a big liar.
Yeah,
full
he was
stop.
talking about a big breakthrough, wasn't he?
And
he got all his information from science mags and put it all together.
So they said, well, how does
science predictions
work? Ben Rich's answer was,
he was clever in that way, wasn't he?
How does ESP work?
He was clever.
I won't
say that.
Extrasensory perception.
But he may have gone to university, but he wasn't enrolled as a normal student, I don't think.
No, he ever went to any university, Paul.
No, he had one proof that someone was dropping him off in California, was it? Or was it MIT? I can't remember now. But anyway,
no, that was Los Alamos. And the other piece of evidence, if you're a Lazar fan, was he had a pay stub from when he was working at Edwards Air Force Base. Now, the thing is, if you know the history of Area 51, which I think they started building on it in 1947. That was when they started working on it. That was just a development period, and it was run by the CIA at the time. But it was actually an extension of Edwards Air Force Base. That was the plan. And a lot of people they recruited as staffers to work there came from Edwards Air Force Base. So Bob Lazar had this pay stub from Edwards, which he obviously did work if he had the pay stub. He also had a postal address in Los Alamos where he worked at a lab there. But what he was doing there, it could just have been a lab technician, which is no big deal at all. Could he have been at Area 51? That was possible. As for his story, I'm sorry, I just can't believe it. There's no part of Bob Lazar's story that interests me.
Okay, but it certainly It's got the gullibles out there.
Yes. Hook, line, and sinker.
And what they call it, the young guns, as Goofon calls them. Yeah, so I still bump into them, putting comments on my Bob Lazar videos that I've got up from time to time.
Yeah. The Bob Lazar legacy will live long beyond.
In fact, I think someone even said they were mates with Bob Lazar, and I said, well, that makes you more biased then, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but Facebook mates with him isn't really mates, is it? You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, I consider you two as friends, but I don't consider everybody I've met on Facebook as friends, but some people will call them that.
So, I'm not sure if Corbell's blocked me, but he's gone quiet. He's probably blocked me.
Oh, you mean on Twitter?
Or on socials, yeah. So,
yeah.
Anything new going on with him lately?
Corbell, no, but apparently he's so far up Nap's backside it's a one day he can breathe.
Not good.
I'm not sure if people have watched that that website. What's it called? Robot Head does film reviews. Did one on Bob Lazar's movie. It was just absolutely hilarious. So if you ain't seen it, you got to go dig it up and watch it. I think I got it on Discord, haven't I, in the funny section or something. But yeah, he said it's the only movie where the director's more in it than the actors. It's just hilarious.
I will give James Fox his due respect on that one with his movie Phenomenon, although I know I was a little bit critical of it in places, but he kept out of it. There was just like a few
I don't think he had a choice. I think someone else edited it for him. Remember, he talked about opening sequence. I don't know if you guys remember. He'd been interviewed by, was it Martin before? And they're saying there's an amazing sequence of him flying in a plane, and if his wife knew about it, she wouldn't be very happy. And it looks like they got cut out of the movie.
Yeah,
I don't remember seeing anything about him being in a plane.
Yeah, but that was the opening scene, Paul. That was nothing related to UFOs.
Yeah, it was meant to be an opening scene, but looks like it got chopped. I was looking forward to that, actually, to see what he was on about. But anyway, might just wrap it up there. If you want to go and listen to these guys talk, you got the link in the side.
Yep.
I don't know what else they talk about.
It's worth a listen, but my conclusion
suggests to me that
there may have been elements of truth in what Ben Rich was saying, but
don't treat it as a joke.
And he absolutely not. And he did acknowledge that UFOs are a reality. And I guess in his position, he was known.
All right, well, we'll just better wrap up then. Coming up to 3 hours and 20 minutes. And
thank you, Rob.
Thank you for the donations and the people that bothered showing up. It means a lot. And if you're not a follower of Twitch, get on there because we need the extra people. So we got a lot of gangsters, but we're a small channel and we're not going away anywhere soon. They can attack us, strike us, whatever. And the globalists can take out our alternative video platforms. But the worst case scenario, we can always dump it onto our hard drive, do it privately, and then still upload it anywhere we want to. So they can't silence us.
Which will upset them even more.
Yeah, peer-to-peer technology, they can't shut up. They can't stop it sharing. Not everybody gets behind it. So there's going to be a big movement, and they can't even stop it in China. Apparently, they got VPNs that the Chinese go just to get past the war of China, the Great War of China. They call it Internet War of China. So yeah, censorship is the problem that we face in the future now. Anyway, good night, everyone. Let's see if this kicks off.
Yeah, good night. Same time next week.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Charles.
Also, it's coming
See you
up.
soon, mate.
Hey, mate. See ya.
What's up?
Yeah. What have we got there? Susan. There we go. Good night. It didn't go too bad. Still closing down though.
Well, we're up to 9 for a while, which is pretty okay for this platform, isn't it?
Yeah, we're up to 4 away from 600 episodes on my channel now. Amazing.
Jeez.
There's a time when I thought I couldn't even do 20. It's amazing how things go. You don't know what the future holds or what we're meant to do, but hopefully we get better and better, and the technology will get better, and we won't have all these stupid problems. Okay, let's see, can I end it? It's a bit slow.
Charles still with us?
No, he's gone.
He's gone now. Okay.
Yeah, bed. Why can't I get that turn off?